a great experience. It was at first I was a bit nervous presenting my work, but now I feel very good about it, and I'm happy that my work is being seen by other people, and I love the networking aspect as well. Like, I got to meet a lot of amazing people.
Yeah, this was a fantastic conference. It's always the people. There's all the right people here, so it's a great place to learn.
Well, the most exciting thing is really networking with people. Since the pandemic, I really didn't get the opportunity to meet people, and yeah, it's just a great community.
Yeah, you come to conference to meet scientific people, friends, and also colleagues from all over the world, and typically to have some scientific exchange with them.
You can start bouncing ideas off of other people that you meet at the conference.
But it's just a good practice to understand what it's like to get yourself out there in the real world.
The fact that I'm capable of physically being in a conference is an excellent opportunity, because you get to see the people face to face and you get to talk to them from different cultures and different ethnicities.
If you also want to meet fellow researchers, then you should come to a conference.
Coming on site and meeting people in person is really great. It's a great experience.
The thing that you remember the best are the socialization that comes afterwards or during. And so I think that's very true. And that's how you get to meet people and learn about what they do.
Go, attend the conference, take advantage of as much as you can. There's always the technical component, but then there's usually other events, either there's an exhibit floor to explore or just other networking opportunities.
So there's a lot going on, and there are a lot of conferences. So to me, it's a wonderful vehicle to achieve these other goals. There's also a lot of tech in conferences now. So there's all kinds of remote systems that we're using. There's electronic signage. We did a hologram presentation from around the world. So if you're interested in hospitality and events, and you're interested in engineering and science, marriages can be made there too. There are so many different kinds of intersections. So I personally think it's one of the great career paths myself. When we talk about conferences, we traditionally have done a lot of research conferences, and that's our bread and butter. That's where all these research papers are coming from, and people are largely academic in the population. But we bring in a lot of other stakeholders, and we're also expanding our portfolio and offerings. So not just research conferences, but curated events that appeal to people that are in that community or in that field. And what I would tell like a new event planner or a new producer, any of my team, is there's really only one question to ask when you're thinking about doing an event, any event. Why? It's not where is it going to be held or what are we going to serve or all the decorations. It's what is the outcome that we are trying to achieve. That's what you focus on. And that's what you measure every decision against. Why are we doing it? Are we doing it to attract new members? Are we doing it to inspire young people? Are we doing it to create cross collaborations? You need to have a clear goal on what you're doing to achieve success. That's just a little side tidbit for those of you who are interested in events. But for IEEE, we want to bring together the regions, the sections, industry, academia, entrepreneurs, NGOs, governments, other nonprofits, societies, students. And really, we've already achieved that right here with this workshop. So that I think some of the energy that we're feeling and some of the good outcomes that we're going to get are because we have this whole system approach. Science, I mean, one of the things that inspires me about IEEE and technology is it really lifts the conversation up above individual groups and individual alliances. It's a place where people can really collaborate. And at a lot of these scientific research conferences that we have, new science and new ideas are actually created at the conference. People get ideas about approaching their work differently, or new collaborations are formed. And I get very psyched when that happens. One of the conferences that we do is, I think it's our second most successful financial conference, if I'm remembering correctly. Or most on an alternate year, okay? We'll give you that. It's very successful. And what happens with a conference that has this kind of history and success, it becomes its own kind of community. There are a lot of people that go to this conference that are not affiliated with Microwave Technique and Technology Society. They're not affiliated with the region. They're not affiliated with IEEE. They're into IMS, the conference. So it really can become a thing of its own, a community of its own. And we see that happen. We'll talk a bit more about that afterwards, but it didn't happen in a day. How old is that conference, Fred, about? Ish. A conference, 67 years. So it wasn't the top earning conference of the day, I don't think. But now it's something that, you know, has its own ecosystem. And I see that as a trend more and more, that people are affiliating with these events once they really get traction. And that could happen here. There are various roles that you could play as a volunteer on a conference. It takes so many people to do a successful conference, and they're volunteer run, as I said. We have guidelines, we have coaching, we have resources, but someone has to be the general chair and sort of be like that captain of the team. There are finance treasury roles. There are technical program roles. That's really looking at what's being submitted and making sure that it meets a certain standard. There's a publications team. We really incorporate sustainability now into conferences, and the role there is like, are the choices that we're making having a harmful impact on the environment? Registration takes place. We want to publicize this to have people come. We want sponsors and exhibitors to interact with our researchers and our attendees. Local arrangements is a huge part of it, because you want the people that know the area and already have pre-existing relationships to be key contributors. And of course, we want to make sure that we have diversity in our events. And what that really means is thinking broadly. Is there diversity on this organizing committee? Is there diversity in the peer review selection process? Is there diversity of speakers on your agenda? And do all people that want to attend your conference feel welcome and included? That's on the table. And as we develop ways of measuring that, it's going to become more and more important, because this is how change happens, okay? So the other thing that's really, I think, magical about conferences, it is a wonderful way to expand your professional skill set. And, you know, I have found that. I started at the very beginning, like, I want to travel. Okay, well, who cares, right? But once you get into it, all of a sudden you know how to manage a budget. You understand how to intersect technology with your events. You learn how to work as a team. You learn how to teach others what you do. You start going up as a manager. That happened to me in a professional track, but it also can happen in a volunteer role when you're volunteering on conferences. And here's some of the things that you're gonna have to deal with. You know, you have to have a little business acumen. Are you gonna make your budget, or are you gonna have to write a check at the end of the day? You know, you have to learn how to manage your time, negotiating with vendors, mentoring students who might want to be on your team, and so forth. So there's I've talked to a lot of volunteers who have said that they really grew as professionals in their main careers by volunteering on conferences and learning these skills. So as I said, event evangelist over here. I really believe there's so much in conferences and events for everybody. Thank you. What I would like to do now is to call up Fred, who you just heard from, as well as Bala Prasanna, who you heard from yesterday. And we're just going to talk a little bit more about conferences and some of the history that they can bring to the table. So, Fred, could you tell us, first of all, a little bit about the history of IMS, why it's successful, and what are some of those growth elements that were important?
Yep. First, I'll add one more thing to the things that we need to run a conference. We typically want a bunch of student volunteers. So if we're coming to your space, sometimes we have travel money too. We will give you a free registration if you volunteer to help. So IMS started in the 50s. our technical community, MTT, had just been created a couple of years earlier, and a few of the early people said, you know, we need a place to share our work that in this specialized area. There were general conferences in electrical engineering, and so they created this conference. In the first couple of years, you know, 100 people or so, and 30 papers, and things like that. And it just kind of gradually grew. The other interesting issue came up in the early 70s where there was a discussion among the leadership in MTT about whether we should add a trade show. We'd had little exhibitors and tables, but you know, maybe we should, you know, really invite industry to participate here. And the concern was we would commercialize this event. You know, it's the premier technical event in our space. We'll lose that. It'll be a commercial trade show. But they decided to take a risk. Let's gamble on this. And the answer ended up being we can be both. So today the preeminent technical venue for microwave technology is the International Microwave Symposium. And the biggest trade show in the world in microwave technology, RF microwave technology, is the International Microwave Symposium. And it turns out you can feed those two off of each other. And we have built a community. You know, I do my best to attend every year. I've missed a few because my kids are graduating from college or high school or something like that. But I do my best. And everyone that's attended a few years, they start to feel attached to this. You know, we use the same photographer every year. We've used them probably for 20 years now. And people that started coming as a student, you know, you see them and they'll walk up to the photographer and say, "Hey, Jim, take a photo of me with my friends," because they're part of the community too. So it is kind of a special thing that you can build an event like that. I was the general chair in 2009. So that was a while ago, but you know, we had 8,000, 9,000 people. That was the year of the H1N1 swine flu pandemic. And so we lost maybe 1,000 people because of that. But, you know, it was still a great event.
So I think, you know, tying that to the students in the room and the idea of a network, attending a conference is an absolutely great way to build your network, even with the organizing committee. And as Fred said, oftentimes there's some type of subsidy to attend and volunteer. It's just a very easy point of access. You don't even have to be a member. So that's something to think about. And Fred, what do you think that you personally or others in your community have, you know, what skills did you acquire through this process?
You know, certainly there are leadership skills that you learn. The budget is big. I mean, I had a pretty large budget for my engineering organization too, but you know, it's a very different kind of budget for a conference. You're basically creating a standalone activity every year, and you can rely on kind of what happened past years, but every location's different. So, you know, you learn to be adaptable. You know, things happen at the last minute. You learn that, you know, people overperform and underperform. I've learned that sometimes firing somebody from a volunteer job it isn't, you know, you feel like it's going to be difficult, and it might not be. Yeah, you know, I had to sit down with someone and say, you know, I think I have to replace. Oh, thank God. So yeah, there you know, all kinds of dimensions of leadership and running an organization that you can learn, and you just, you know, get to meet all kinds of people. You know, when I ran my conference, you know, we had 60 volunteers, I'd say, altogether involved in the conference, and my goal was to have as few of the people that worked for me in my business volunteer for that conference as possible. So I reached out to all my competitors and got them to
Yeah,
to
I think
contribute.
that is a really great point, because what IEEE has is the power to convene. We saw it yesterday on the panel discussion with some competitors in the telecom space, and we see it all the time at conferences. It's a wonderful spot for competitors. Both, there's can be competition among researchers, and there's a lot of competition in the commercial market. But these are places where, like, the higher interest of the technology and the connection and energy that you get supersedes the actual, maybe commercial competition that you might see. We're neutral. We don't really take positions on specific technologies. We don't play favorites with companies, or, we really try to be neutral. And so this is a place where everybody can gather regardless of their politics, their commercial affiliation, whatever. So I do like that. The other aspect I wanted to bring out about conferences is a lot of risk management involved with conferences. So we all went through the pandemic, right? When in 2019, I happen to have a cousin that is in charge of pandemic research at Johns Hopkins University. He runs the Bloomberg School down there. And I started hearing these reports in China of people were getting sick and it looked like it was contagious. And I called him up and I said, "Hey, Tom, this looks different to me. What's going on?" He's like, "This is not a drill." So I immediately went to then CEO of the company and I said, "I want to go into business continuity mode for the conference business." Now, luckily, we had insurance. We had insurance for our expenses and we had insurance for our revenue. So that was something I put in. Coming from financial services, I came into the nonprofit. I was like, "There's no insurance?" I said, we got to have that. So I put that in place in 2012. But it had never even crossed my mind that every live event would go red at once. But the thing about having the insurance was I knew that we didn't have a financial problem. Every other nonprofit on earth was terrified that they wouldn't be in business the next year. But I knew that wasn't our issue. Our issue was our community, our researchers. How were they going to publish when their labs were closed and their universities were closed? So I created something called Project Pipeline. And I took my whole staff, none of them who were doing these jobs the day before. I was like, "Look, we're on a critical path. We have to reach out to every conference organizer, to every, university we're partnered with, and let them know that we're creating a path to publish through remote presentation of papers," which was a cultural shift. But it was one that we were prepared for and one that's fine. So it was an opportunity for me to bring everybody along, like, this is an option. And that year, we published more papers than we ever had before. So it was an amazing situation for us. So, but I think, again, it's almost like running a business, running a conference, and we do it together with our volunteers. Now, we don't just have the technical conferences that the society sponsor. We also have a lot of regional conferences, which in a way can be more holistic than the strict research conferences. And Bala, maybe you could tell us a little bit about some that are in this general region, in Eric's region and your region. And one in particular that's been very successful is Southeast Con. What is Southeast Con? I think it was in Jamaica actually one year.
So before I answer the question, I want to tie a few things, okay? In the context of conferences, you used words like convene, you used words like collaboration, and working together for a better experience, okay? Now, the appeal to the students and the people, here is just to put all these things, in perspective, what they saw yesterday, okay? And what you said today in terms of summary, and what Professor Udiaga has been evangelizing for the convene of the students in Jamaica, University of Technology, University of West Indies, everything, right? So in my mind, right, so I just made these notes.
Okay.
Okay, let me read this one. So I would like you guys, to think in terms, in abstract terms, if it helps, is think of it is a symphony, the convene, the the act of convene is a symphony of diverse ideas, bringing them together in harmonious collaboration. I think that's what we witnessed yesterday, and that's what it will be going forward and forever. So that's how, that's why there is a need for people coming together of various backgrounds, various experiences, various ideas, various challenges. So there is a lot of things that need to get done, that will be get done. So through these things. Again, just to expand on that, so you have an assembly of puzzle pieces. You are all puzzle pieces because somebody is good in technical ideas, somebody is good to become a treasurer or a general chair or whatever capacity that you're going to do. So you contribute a unique perspective, forming a cohesive and complete picture. Because at the end of the conference, I think you'll have, or convene, you'll have a better picture, a complete picture. So that's what I think is the bigger thing. Just to summarize this one, I think Fred talked at length about what do you get out of these things, right? Certainly, everything he said is 100% right, and that's what the folks need to be paying attention. One other aspect for me personally is to think bigger than myself. Okay, so that is the experience personally I get being a part of conferences or conventions or something. So that's what comes out. You don't know what you are, but you can be. Okay, let's go one step further. This is what I learned, 3 days back from another conference. So if you do, to think big, there is a bigger big, because you get to that bigger big space. So if you get to that, if you allow yourself, to do those things, the big or the bigger big, so that's where many things like networking becomes natural. The potentials for so many things, it's just a playground.
Yeah.
Okay. So that said, you had a question about Southeast Con.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reverse the thing because, okay, there are several conferences, right? So we have Rising Stars. I just came back from Rising Stars conference. So Rising Stars conference is for YP, that's the young professionals that you saw here, who just graduated from college. So now they are into career for about 15 years. So it's about, 25 years to about 40 years kind of thing, right? That doesn't mean it is limited to that, but that's the core part of it. So that conference is now in its 10th year of existence, and it has matured well, right? So throughout its maturation process, they have acquired, lots of different things. They have built a community of volunteers, okay, who can do great things along the way. So one thing, that was, for example, was in some sense, culmination of it is Dr. Vint Cerf. Dr. Vint Cerf is regarded as the father of internet. You get to invite him. You get to talk to him. When he comes there, certainly, he can talk to you about TCP/IP protocol, but he also talks about interplanetary protocols too. So that's where, all of a sudden, your mind explodes with the possibilities, the opportunities, the challenges, and so on. That is the power of these conferences and conventions, and Rising Stars is one of them. Certainly, you guys, Region 3, it's all open to all regions. So invite yourself. So however you do, right? So be a part of it. Bring back that experience so that more people can go. That's one. The second conference is Women in Engineering Forum. These are just some samples. So Women in Engineering Forum, organized by Region 1 and Region 2, is in its about 7th or 8th year of existence. This is again, focused on women in engineering. Of course, it is not limited to that, but that's the focus, where you talk about glass ceiling. So many other things, that get the challenges unique to women, right? How they can continue to excel, get beyond their latent potential. okay, and so on. So those are the kind of things, that happen. Last thing, Southeast Con, okay? Southeast Con, so Eric is a better person because it happens in his turf. So I was in Southeast Con last year. That was my first experience being in Southeast Con. And the conference that happens on the first day is the one, that has been branded by itself. So for me, when I was becoming a director or on my way, everybody was talking about, did you ever go to Southeast Con, Southeast Con? So I wanted to find out what the magic was. The part of the magic is the way, they put the students together, the student speakers, the invited speakers for whatever, future directions and future possibilities and so on, and promoting student research and so on. But I would let Eric probably spend some time talking about Southeast Con because that happens in his home turf.
Do you want to say a few words about it?
Hello. Yep, there we go. So Southeast Con, it's been around since the mid-'70s, so it's been around for a long time. It's an annual conference that is held in Region 3. You guys are a part of Region 3. It was over here in Jamaica in 2012. So, and includes, it's number one, it's a premier conference for Region 3. We spent a lot of time organizing and pulling together. We need a lot of volunteers. We use a lot of student volunteers helping out. We use a lot of technical folks in there. It's a combination of student competitions. We've got autonomous robotics competition. We've got software competition, networking competition, ethics competition, software competition. Sometimes we do cyber challenges, depending on the hosting organization. So every year, it moves around different cities within the U.S. and Southeast U.S. and hosting committee that is responsible for a conference in their facilities or in their city manage a lot of the local details. And the region comes in there and helps out with the additional administrative meetings. So we've got student competitions, we've got administrative governance meetings, and then we also have technical papers and presentations. We have not stopped having Southeast Con on annual basis. Even during the COVID, we had to go and shut down. Some of us went to the facilities in Raleigh, North Carolina, but in midstream, facilities closed out. So we immediately went to risk mitigation mode, thanks to Sherry and everyone else. The insurance kicked in, so a lot of the guarantees that we had, we were able to kick in, and we were able to actually make good revenue out of even the conference that got canceled. We went hybrid. We asked all the presenters to present their presentations in hybrid mode or remote mode. We even had the hardware competitions remotely. So we were able to support that activity and continue with having the tradition of Southeast Con.
So when we're talking about Southeast Con and Rising Stars, those are probably the easiest ones for the majority of these people to enter, right? So they're in the region. There's a lot of students involved. But as we said, there's thousands and thousands of events. And you can also start your own events by partnering with IEEE. Maybe you can't make the lift over to Southeast Con or something else, but you're interested in robotics, or you're interested in some specific technology and meeting with people from other universities and local people here in Jamaica. Get engaged with the section, and we'll see what we can make happen. This is an easy way to grow your network, and growing your network, as we said, is so key. And the other thing is that what you're...
Can I add something? Almost half the conferences that IEEE sponsors are run by universities, and we are a technical co-sponsor. So if your university wants to start a conference, we can support you. Let's just talk about it.
So it is a volunteer-run organization, and that means that the energy, the interest, the passion has to come from you all if you want to do it. But if you want to do it, we're in, and we can support, and we can lift up and amplify. So I encourage you to do it. We could be doing a lot more conferences in Jamaica. I personally believe from a tourism, hospitality perspective that Jamaica is uniquely well positioned for this moment in time. When you marry that with the enthusiasm and amplification of technology that's going on, it's a great spot for IEEE, which is partially why I'm here. I really believe that we can grow this as a premier tech conference destination. And the other thing is, I think a positive mindset is so key. We can do it. We can do it. And do not take no for an answer. My dad said that Wall Street was no place for a woman. After being there for a little while, I was like, maybe he was right. This is rough. But now I sort of see what he was saying. But at the same time, I eventually became a managing director and head of a division 1 year before my brother, who had been ushered in the path, became a managing director. And that was sweet. Thank you all.
All right, that sounds like a little bit of sweet revenge. All right, so you would have heard from Maria, Fred, and Bala in terms of the importance of conferences, the role that the MCE plays in hosting conferences. But I think most importantly for me, it tells me that everyone, including you students, have a role to play in terms of either be at a conference, be a part of a conference, or even volunteering to make it work. My first conference that I attended, I was a volunteer who I didn't even realize I was volunteering because the amount of fun that I was having. All right, so it is really worth the while to be a part and parcel of these conferences. So again, I want a round of applause for Maria and the team for their presentation. Now we're going to take our first and only break for the day. So go treat yourself. We have refreshment. I hope that it's ready. Refreshment on the outside for you. It is gonna be just about a 20 minutes conference because we want to make up the time so that we can finish. So we should be back in 20 minutes. So just about 10 minutes. All right. Thank you. Some kind of refreshment, and I can see the nature of the engagement. So I'm sure we are not lacking as it relates to the whole aspect of networking. All right, so as you take your seat, I want to force to just engage in the next part of the presentation, the workshop. And so welcome back. And our next activity in this workshop is the panel discussion revolving around programs within the IEEE that's doing amazing things in their respective areas, and they need your help in some spirit, the same spirit of this morning conversation around the whole aspect of volunteerism. We heard Bala spoke about it, Fred spoke about it, Maria spoke about the whole aspect of what makes IEEE and what makes IEEE successful is the level of volunteerism that goes into it. And we want to learn, we want you to learn a little bit more about the initiative in the hope that you are also and will also be inspired to get involved, be a volunteer. So we're gonna have a closing of the door so that we can actually hear the presenters shortly. So the panel, of course, this morning, and I know that some of you actually know persons already, but there's some new faces that are going to be on stage. So from my immediate left, we have Eric, and Eric Goran is the Region 3 Director. To his left is Bala. Bala's, you'd have seen Bala this morning, Director Region 1. And to his left, we have Ashley. And to Ashley's left, we have Nancy. Good? So this discussion is going to be all about how it is that, you know, the spirit of volunteerism works and how you can get involved in the whole process to contribute to the whole objective of the IEEE. So they're here already. So, you know, let's give them a round of applause. And we will get going right away in terms of, so is it that you want, Eric is going to be leading starting the whole discussion. So over to you, Eric.
Thank you so very much. I guess we'd like to get started with our first presenter is going to be Bala. He's going to talk about MOVE. You don't come over here, you just want to talk from there?
You can play the video.
Okay, just play the video. All right, you got it?
Of electrical and electronic engineers has a first response unit called MOVE that can assist the Red Cross in getting their operations running. Members stop by the Mississippi Region Red Cross headquarters in Flowwood.
Can bring the truck in 15 minutes. I'll have internet and phones and an operation power for them, and we can get the operation up and running before the regular infrastructure comes back online.
The team helps cover often overlooked necessities like power, internet, and television in the wake of a natural disaster. The Mississippi Red Cross says the Ieee response truck is an invaluable partner to their disaster operations force. The team has a full update on its Hurricane Barry response, and you can find that link on our website. It's wjtv.com. Now,
hi guys, good morning again. The person that you saw there is Grayson Randolph. Grayson and Mary Ellen. So they are the, in some sense, you know, the brain, the founders behind MOVE. Just look at the title of this panel discussion. So there is a volunteer built into that. Hello? Good? Okay. So MOVE, I'm not trying to get ahead of you. MOVE is, I'm trying to make it up here. This is mobility, outreach by volunteers during emergencies. That's very close to MOVE. So the role of volunteers is built into it. So if you go back and, you know, play the video back, the reporter kept talking about the team. The team is the volunteers, and the volunteers are IEEE members for most part, 99, 100% part, okay? We will talk more about, you know, how it applies to Jamaica, the team, and so on and so forth. But for now, you know, there is IEEE and MOVE. Okay. In the United States, okay, the MOVE operation is handled by, at this point, you know, there are 2 MOVE trucks. These are equipped with some technology that provides communication and that provides also some power capabilities. Okay, so those are the main things. And of course, there are other little things, you know, which are very important. during emergencies. The bigger picture here is IEEE Move helps those that help the actual people who are affected by the disasters. Okay, example is Move works with Red Cross, Move works with the Emergency Management Organization, which is the government kind of thing. So IEEE helps them help or deliver help to those impacted. Okay, so I said, there are 2 trucks. So again, there is also, we are thinking of emergency relief efforts beyond being in a truck. How do you package, put it in a box, airlift it, and then send it to a different place where there is a disaster, where there is help that is needed. So that is the modular move. It does not need a physical truck to go to the place. What it does require is a box that contains technology, okay, and the volunteers able to go there and using that, so they set up shop and then help the helpers. Okay, again, we keep going back, powered by volunteers, right? So that's the takeaway. So we can have a few more questions and expand on this, but at this point, I'll.
Thanks, Bala. What we'll do, we'll just leave the questions and a little bit after all the presentations, because I'm sure everyone's got a lot of questions. So do I. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions too. All right. I'm going on that note. I'm going to invite Ashley Moran to talk about her projects with IEEE.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Ashley Moran. I am the program manager for EPICS and IEEE, and I'm going to talk with you about a few programs that fall under educational activities. And so the first one is engineering education, intimately connected to community service. So I want to start off with just a really brief activity. I want everyone to take a minute and think about 3 things in this world that you would want to improve, and what could you personally do to get it started. So just take a moment and think about that, and then maybe share with your neighbor. If there were things that you could improve in this world, what would they be? And think about what you could do personally to get them started. And maybe even think about how engineering and technology could be used to help find those solutions. Great. So we all have an idea, right? We know how we're going to improve the world. Okay. Well, I have some good news. EPICS and IEEE can help you take these projects and make them a reality. It can help you take what you're learning in the classroom and apply it to community problems in your community. And so EPIC stands for Engineering Projects and Community Service, and we are a program and a committee that supports these service learning projects that benefit humanity through funding, resources, and mentorship. So we give out grant funding between $1,000 and $10,000 for these service learning projects. And that can be for prototyping materials, community outreach materials, and travel for your project. So what kind of projects do we support? So we support projects in 4 pillars: education and outreach, access and abilities, environment, and human services. And so, for example, an environmental project could be working with a local community garden and providing them with a farm bot that could help with seeding and watering of a local community garden to help increase the output of fruits and vegetables for your local community. And I'm going to share a few other examples as we go through. And so you may be thinking, well, it's great to help out the community. Why else would I want to get interested in an EPICS and IEEE project? And those are the engineering student learning outcomes. It's a way for you to strengthen those technical skills that you're learning in the classroom, but it also helps you develop communication, collaboration. You're working with a community organization to help them solve their challenges. You're working together. You're developing those leadership skills, project management skills, and time management skills. All of those things look great on your resume when you're going to apply for jobs or apply for internships. It helps you look like you've already accomplished a wonderful project in your community, and those skills are transferable to your career. So it's a great opportunity to get involved. We also talked, when Sophie spoke to us yesterday, she talked a little bit about empathy. And one of the great things about an EPICS project is it gives you the opportunity to work with your community, work with those end stakeholders, and really understand what their needs are. And then you can help them by developing an engineering solution together. So we talked yesterday when Jolene presented, she talked about your passions, right? So EPICS is a great way to take your passions and help in your local community using engineering and technology. So I have a quote here from a student from university in Florida, which is part of Region 3, that had an adaptive mouse project. And so what he said was, I've always been sensitive to what it would be like to be limb deficient and have to deal with day-to-day struggles associated with a physical disability. Through his project, he said, combining what I'm learning in my classroom with the funding from EPICS and IEEE, with my own personal passion for gaming, I'm hoping to make a difference and help others enjoy the hobby that I love. So these can be really unique personal projects that you can work on, and we can help you get that prototyping material so you can really tinker and find the solution that works best for those end stakeholders and that end group that you're working with. I just throw this up here just to kind of give you some scope of our program. We've been around for 15 years. 2024 is our 15th anniversary of the program within IEEE. We've supported projects across the world, and we engage students, volunteers, even high school students, university students, and IEEE volunteers work together on these projects. So if you're interested in a project, I encourage you to talk with your faculty members, to talk with your local IEEE section, to talk with your student branch, to come up with a project where you can use all these groups to work together. EPICS is a great way to get into the IEEE network, as we've been talking about, and we also provide mentors, so you can be connected with IEEE mentors that can help you take your project to the next level. There's a lot of information on this slide. Basically, what I want to take away is that there is an application process. So you would fill out an application to get the funding from EPICS and IEEE. It's reviewed by our committee, and then we select the top projects to receive funding. And we have a deadline coming up in May. And there's a lot of information, a lot of resources on our website. We also have a deadline coming up in October as well. So this is a page, if you want to follow us for more information, I encourage you to follow, if you set up your LinkedIn page, as we were talking about yesterday, EPICS can be one of the first groups that you follow. We also have a lot of information on our website. This is a QR code to join our mailing list. We send out only one email a month that talks about our deadlines, our resources, and we also share project stories that may help you get inspiration for what you might want to do and how to connect with your community to make these projects a reality. So I'll leave this up here just one more second. So I encourage you, I know I spoke with a few of you yesterday, but think about what you can do, what kind of needs there are in your community, and find that community partner that you can work with to help them make a solution possible. And so that's all I have for EPICS. And now I want to switch to Try Engineering, which is part of our pre-university program that we have within educational activities as well. And our pre-U mission is really inspiring the engineers of tomorrow. And so we have resources, programs, activities for for teachers, for parents, for volunteers, where they can help give activities, STEM activities, to encourage those that are in pre-university schooling to get involved with STEM, to learn more about what opportunities there are for engineering and technology for their future. So there's another QR code here. I encourage you to join our pre-university STEM community, where we share a lot of these resources that are available as well. And then my final slide, I did want to let everyone know that we do have a Try Engineering summer camp. And so the goal is really to spark enthusiasm in engineering and technology in the next generation. And so these camps take place over the summer at universities within the US. And we do have international students that attend. And it's really for students between 13 and 17 years old. But this is a great way to kind of get engaged with IEEE at a younger level. And you're going to have the opportunity to go to a US institution and learn about engineering and technology, and there's activities, and it gives you an opportunity to stay at a university campus if that's something you've never done before. So take a look at the website. I have the website down there. See if you might be interested in attending our summer workshops. And that's all I have for you today.
Thanks, Nancy. So, we're going through a couple of the different activities or initiatives within IEEE. This morning, Fred talked. He was from the Technical Activities Board, right? So he saw a lot of activities that's going on and how he can get involved with IEEE and technical activities. Vala talked about the MOVE. MOVE is an initiative that came out of the Member Geographic Area, MGA. That was another organization that you saw on the chart that Fred had put this morning. And then Ieee is another one. So I guess now we did talk about the EPICs. Now let's talk about Eta Kappa Nu and honor societies. Nancy Olston. By the way, I did become an Eta Kappa Nu member as a student, so.
Yeah, that's right. I told him he's got to put on his bio there. Gosh, so great to be here with you today. So, yeah, it's exciting, right? We're excited to be in Jamaica. We're excited to be here. We're excited to try to inspire you because I want to tie some of this all up together for you. So I am the director of Eta Kappa Nu, which is the honor society of IEEE. Eta Kappa Nu is an old organization. We formed 120 years ago, actually. We merged with IEEE in about 2010. So we are part of the IEEE family, and we like to see all kinds of collaborations and things happen with IEEE. We want to make sure that you understand how to use IEEE, Eta Kappa Nu, anything you belong to, your society, your region, your section, move, try engineering, to help you in your studies and in your career. These are all resources for you. The big thing is the you in that, right? You have to do something. You have to get involved. You have to make initiatives and outreach. You are the part of your success. So again, what do we have? What do I have a slide on? Oh, not that. I've got to click it. I have to click it. Oh, such technology. Enough about me. They asked me to talk a little bit about the student program. IEEE has a lot of students. Look at that, 163,000 student members and over 3,600 branches. Who's got a branch, a student branch? Who belongs to a student branch here in Jamaica? Only 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are the student branches? We talked about forming a branch. How many, Fred told you, how many students do you need to form a branch? 10. How many students do you need to form a technical chapter of 10? Easy to do. We want you to do that. If you're not doing that and you want questions about that, we've got people that can help you with it. The student program has a lot of things. They have a competition. It's an online competition. It's called Extreme. It's a 24-hour competition. Loads of fun. It's global. I mean, if you're not doing it, if you haven't thought about it, you know you want a robotics one, look at the Extreme. There's a virtual student speakers bureau. You can bring in speakers virtually. So you don't have to have everybody come to you because it's expensive, timely, hard to plan. There's the SPAC program, which is about career focus. There's SAC training series, and there's awards. There's all kinds of awards throughout IEEE. We haven't talked about it a lot. There's student awards. There's technical awards. There's awards in every society. There's awards in MGA. There's awards at every level. There are awards in Eta Kappa Nu. So there are awards at every level. So if you're not looking at nominating others or yourself or getting yourself nominated for an award, boy, that's the you in your life, in your career. Think about it. Think about what you could do, who you could nominate, what could be good for you, and then how could you help others through that. So now I get to talk about Eta Kappa Nu, my favorite thing in the world. If I knew how to do any of this. So, what's Eta Kappa Nu? I know I told a lot of you, it's the Honor Society of IEEE. That means that we have university-based programs. We form chapters within universities that recognize top scholars. They recognize the students that have worked super hard. Nobody gets Eta Kappa Nu, everybody earns it, like Eric. So he had to be a top student in his junior or senior class or a graduate student in order to qualify. We are working on 2 chapters, forming 2 Eta Kappa Nu chapters here in Jamaica, one here at this institute and one at the University of West Indies. So hopefully we'll be back within the next year to have one of those, yeah. So we've got 274 chapters and we are recognized around the world, as a top honor society in our profession. And why is that important? So let me just bring all of this home to you. Marie's made some really good points about conferences and what they give to you. And Fred talked about networking and a lot. And you heard networking and all of this and about the regions. Let me tell you what this really works. So because volunteer, I don't have a lot of time. I'm a student. What could I do? I don't know anything. Ashley did a really good talking about what you're going to learn, the skill set you're going to be. Your university, your college, your high school teaches you engineering. They teach you the skill that you need. To apply the skill, you need a bunch of other attributes. You need that ability to speak, to plan, to work with others, to budget, to get along with people, to contribute to a team. You need those things. If you run your student branch or you do a EPICS project or you're involved in a conference, when you go to talk to an employer, you say, I would like this job. And they say, but you're just in school. You have no experience. What could you possibly do for me that's different than every other person that wants a job, right? Lots of people want jobs. What's going to make you different? What's going to make you different is that you volunteered for IEEE. It's going to make you were involved in EdCap Anew. You did an EPICS project. You can then talk about what you learned and what you did as a volunteer. You can say, as a volunteer on an EPICS project, I learned to manage a group of people. I learned how to build a budget. I learned how to do this. You'll be able to present yourself in a different way. If you belong to a technical society, you'll be able to go to those conferences. You'll know how to talk to people. You'll know how to present yourself. These are things that you can do that you can then say in an interview, look what I've accomplished as a student without the benefit of a job. Get an internship this way, get a job this way. You're going to make yourself stand out. So this is the step that you have to take. We can do all this stuff, but you have to take the step. You have to decide, I'm going to invest in myself enough to volunteer, to join a technical society. Terrence is going to talk about the Robotics Society, awesome society. Some of those societies in IEEE cost $1 to join as a student. I know $1 is $1, but if you could get involved and you could meet people, you're going to network yourself. People say network, what does that mean? I'm going to meet people that could maybe hire me. Now, Fred used his father's network to get a job, his first job, and then he used his own network. And then he also helped somebody else, helped a neighbor, get his son a job. What's the difference here? So when Fred got the job that his father gave to him, he worked hard, improved himself, and was able to get other jobs. He networked himself in those jobs. That means that people knew what he was able to do. And they know through his volunteerism at IEEE, if an opportunity came up at a company that I managed, and I knew Fred, I would say, I want Fred. I've never worked with Fred. I've never seen his technical stuff, but I go, I know I can rely on Fred. I know Fred shows up. I know he does what he's asked to do. I know he'll contribute to the team. I'd want Fred. I have lots of students. I've been there 12 years. I have lots of students who have networked their way into jobs. They get their internships. Those internships turn into jobs. Why? Because they volunteered. They got to know people in their technical society and EdCap Anew by going to a conference. This, again, is something that you can do. But you have to take those steps. And then Fred talked about a young man that he got a job for and came and didn't do anything. So again, on you. Show up. Get involved. Do something. Show people what you can learn. Learn some other skills, because your life is not going to be just about applying and doing a circuit. It's not going to be just about building a circuit or building this. It's going to be about building a team. It's going to be about managing other people. It's going to be about, can you present your ideas clearly to customers? Can you talk to people? It's going to be about all those things, and all those things are on you. School can only teach you so much. IEEE is here for the rest of it. And that's why I want you to think, not just the students to pay your IEEE dues, that's great. One of the tragedies that happens is most of you then don't stay involved. Your young career, you get your first job, you go, oh, wow, I got it. I got my job. In a year or two, you're going to go, ooh, I need another job. How am I going to get that job? Your university's not going to get you that job. They might have helped you, career fairs. How are you going to get that job? You're going to get it through the network that you make in EdCap Anew and IEEE, through your region or section. Those are the people. That's the network. You say to people, I need another job. I need to do something more exciting. I'm more interested in the technical conference of your interest. Is going to give you that. They're going to give you the idea. Boy, I don't want to sit here and just plug this into here and then plug this into here tomorrow and then plug this in the next day. I want to do something really exciting, and that's where your technical conference is going to help you. So again, I really, there's so much you've heard today, but I want you to know this is about you and what you can do with it, how you are going to play it in your career. I think we have another slide somewhere right about EdCap Anew. Does it do that? A bunch of things that we do. So when you have a chapter, but you can also participate. I asked the organizers if I can have all your emails. We have a virtual conference coming up. I'm going to make that available to all of you. It's going to talk about technology careers. It's going to have technical societies involved. It's going to have companies involved. We collect resumes. We help you get job postings and things like that. We'll help you with all those kinds of things. We have a magazine called The Bridge. Some people took it, but it's online. There's 3 articles in every issue. If you're a teacher, I would ask you to please go look at them. If you're teaching a course on renewable energy, there's 3 great articles on renewable energy that your students can understand. They're not scholarly technical articles, which are great. And you could teach a course on it. There's one on LIDAR. I could go on. There's them on space and everything else. But at Academy does a lot of things. We do conferences. We have an awesome SLC that our students get to go to. We work on those leadership skills. We look at teaching them those kinds of skills that are going to differentiate you from everybody else. That's up to you. At Academy, you have to earn it. You have to get invited to join. You're going to have to work hard. But the big other key component about Academy is a scholarship part, character, and attitude. You have to give back. Now you have to help other people succeed. You have to help younger students. The Academy chapter, if it comes here, has got to go help the high schools. They've got to help the younger students. How are we going to encourage others to go into engineering? That's your job as a high-performing student, is to help others. And that's going to help you. It's going to help you because you're going to have those skill sets of working with others, explaining concepts, developing empathy, getting projects. So there's a lot we have to do. We've got podcasts. We've got all kinds of great stuff. I'm connected with any of you on LinkedIn, help you a lot. But I know I don't want to go over my time here. I'm so excited about this. I have the best job in the world. I get to work with the most amazing young people. I get to see young people like you grow and succeed, get involved, and do wonderful things in your life and career. So I really hope you'll be with us so we can help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I guess we'll just go into our moderator section. We'll start asking some questions from you guys. All right. Yes, can you hear me? All right. So let's see. I'm going to start with Ashley first. All right. So how does a student and/or a volunteer get started on an epic? You walked around, asked them to think about a project. So they've got a project in mind. How they get involved to start a project?
Great, that's a great question. So the first thing really is to find that community organization that you can partner with. Find an organization that's working with those end stakeholders of what you're trying to solve. And the reason that's so important is you can really learn what the needs and the wants are of those end stakeholders that you're designing along with them, not just for them. And so that's really the first thing. And then the second thing would really be to look around for other IEEE groups, whether it's your student branch. An EPICS project is a wonderful way to engage your student branch and get them involved in some community outreach. So talk with them about what this project might look like and what you have the capacity to do. And also look to your IEEE section. The Jamaica section would be a great organization that could partner not only with university students, but with high school students to create a project where you're giving back to your community. And so the real big focus is finding that community organization that you want to partner with, and then really kind of planning out what the project will look like. And then once you kind of have that support structure in place, you can be able to fill out your application and get it through our committee. And as I mentioned on our website, we do have some resources. If you're like, I'm not really sure where to find a community partner or how to start a conversation, we've got some micro trainings on our website about how to find a community partner. We have a training on how to set up your budget. We also have a training on what's the impact going to look like, and how do you assess your project, right? We want to make sure your project can be deployed and be successful. So EPICS and IEEE has the resources to help you get started, as well as your local IEEE groups. So that's how you would get going.
All right,
Thank
great,
you.
Thanks. Nancy, how do I become an HKN member as a student?
Well, Eric did become a member, so he knows very well this answer. So we do have those 274 chapters around the globe. So when there's a chapter at your university, and like I said, hopefully by next year or before, we'll be installing a chapter right here at UJT and maybe at UE. We're talking to them as well. You'd have to be in the top of your class in the 3rd or 4th year or a graduate student. So you really earn it. No one gets at a Kapanu. Everybody earns it. So you would be a top performing student, the top quarter of your junior class, the top 3rd of your senior class, or a graduate student. So there's the recognition. Now, most students tell me when they got the letter, and Greg, you told me the same thing the other day, it's like getting an award. It's a tap on the shoulder. It says it gave me confidence. It made me believe in myself, which is so important, and believe that I can contribute. And so you get the invitation, and then you're invited to work with your chapter. The other thing is the obligation. Usually chapters have some traditions that say you're going to volunteer even before you join. Once you join, there's a ceremony, there's a lot involved, but you will have lots of chances to go out and outreach in the community and do other things and build your resume. Build your resume. At a Kappa Nu, you can put on your resume, how long, Eric? Forever. Yes. Forever. It's for life. So you can put your grade point average on your resume once in your first job. Never do that again. But you can, nobody cares if you're a 4.0 on your second or third or fourth job. But you can always put at a Kappa Nu. It does signal to an employer that were a high-performing student that understood the value of ethics and giving back.
Thank you. I'm going to switch around back and forth between the panel over here. So Bala, we talked about the move trucks. Where are they located? And then where's the container? Where is the other one?
Let's see. Let me dance around the question. By the way, I can do it. You guys cannot do it. What I was trying to get at was when we think of MOVE, we always, associate MOVE with disaster relief. That is the right thing to do. That is fine. But I also wanted to communicate MOVE, the intent and purpose of MOVE is far beyond disaster recovery. So there is a whole new aspect of that. So there are about 300 or more volunteers at this point doing various things. Okay, we'll get to that later. But with regard to the intent and purpose, yes, we talked about disaster recovery. There is also a STEM outreach component to it, where MOVE volunteers have programs to educate K through 12 or even beyond if necessary about the technologies, not only in the MOVE sphere, but beyond that. There is also a public visibility part of it. Why MOVE or something like MOVE is important. How people can get engaged, who can help with the community at times of need and so on. And then, there is also a component where there is constant education. Like, we bring speakers. They can talk about Artemis program. They can talk about these huge things. So there is also this constant or continuing education component to MOVE. So that is why, MOVE is much bigger than disaster recovery. And that's what you get being a part of MOVE. That's what you contribute being a part of MOVE. Back to your question. Dance is complete. At this point, there are two physical trucks. One located in North Carolina, which is your backyard. The other truck is located in San Diego. Okay, and there is also another work effort that is taking place in, I think, Arlington, Dallas, around that area in Texas. The Texas. They do not quite have a truck. They may have a truck, but the idea is how can we deliver disaster recovery with or without a truck? That's the important thing. And now, you asked about two trucks. These are the two trucks that keeps expanding. And also, when you go, for example, the international part of MOVE, there is India MOVE, there is Puerto Rico MOVE. And of course, people already have started thinking about MOVE in Jamaica. Okay.
All right, great, thank you. All right, back to you, Ashley. So, can you give an example of a successful EPICS in our IEEE projects?
Sure. I have lots of examples. One of our more recent examples actually took place in India, and a group of students at a student branch for the Computational Intelligence Society, so partnering with an IEEE society, the students worked to create a wearable device to help the blind. And so this device is similar to Google Glass, but it was made more affordable and accessible to the community. And it reads out street signs, lets users know how close different objects are. The team ended up deploying 11 devices to the National Association of the Blind for students to be able to check out and utilize. They also created a user guide that helped the students that were using the product. And this project was really successful because of its partnership with the National Association of the Blind in India. And throughout the process, the students were displaying what they were creating with blind students so that they could test out the product and give them feedback and say, you know what, this isn't really comfortable for us to wear. You might want to think about changing it this way or that way. And it gave them the opportunity to really tinker with that prototype and come up with something that's really useful for that end stakeholder, for those blind students that now have the access to use those throughout the year. And the project was very successful, and they're actually looking to do some advancements to it and thinking, are there other things that we could do to make this even more useful for that community? And so we were so proud of the students that were part of that. And it really shows the student branch, a society engagement in the project. And they also had a mentor that helped them take their project to the next level that was assigned through IEEE. And there are many more examples on our website, but that's one of our access and abilities examples recently.
All right, thank you. So Nancy, I graduated from my university, but they don't have an HKN chapter. Can I still become an HKN member?
Actually, you can. Let's talk to Fred Schindler, who became a member recently. He was but there is a professional pathway to membership. So if you are a professional and you have the equivalent of 10 years practicing and contributions to the engineering community in your professional life, there is a process by which you can be nominated. You need endorsers. These gentlemen, Fred, Bala, Eric, could all endorse you or nominate you to become a member of Eta Kappa Nu. There is a ceremony involved. We do them virtually as well as in person when possible. And we always love to welcome new people because then we welcome more expertise. Our professional members, or our alumni as we call them, become the mentors for our graduate students. Our alumni help us reach out in the community and do other things. So the lifelong part of Eta Kappa Nu is there because we know that I haven't met a person yet, I don't even think an IEEE, but Eta Kappa Nu person that doesn't want to give back to students. I haven't run into anybody that wouldn't say, I would help a student. So these organizations, our organization is there to help you as a young person navigate a lot of this confusing, difficult, overwhelming stuff. So the great part is that there's always an opportunity for you to be involved. We have a board of governors, we have volunteers, we have students to serve on our board. And so those exposure opportunities. But yes, you can join as a professional. Your faculty, all are eligible if you start a chapter because their faculty, at least graduate students, all qualify. So thanks, Eric. Yeah, we'd love to welcome more friends to the party.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, Bala, your turn.
Can I just add to that? HKN professional members.
He is the chair of the professional member committee, so just full disclosure.
I'm just trying to make a pitch, right? So like Christopher Udiaga said, that he became a professional member of HKN last year. And from here, looking at you, the professors and the industry folks, right? So you're all potential HKN professional members. So please do become, so you can reach out to me so I can work or help you through the process. You can become a part of that, and that way you can give back to HKN students or IEEE students. So that is possible, and it's a fairly, I don't want to say a simple process. It is a process, but we can help you make it easy.
All right, so all yesterday today we've been talking about volunteer-run organization and a lot of volunteer engagement. So I want to become a MOVE volunteer. What do I do to become a MOVE volunteer?
So a few things, but
no dancing around.
Yeah, actually, yeah. What I'm struggling to find out is you don't need to know anything, but you do need to have something. So that something is your willingness to be a part of a team. So be willing to do some hard work, some work that you may not be accustomed to, that, so those kind of things. That is all what is needed. You do not need to be a truck driver. You do not need to have a license in installing Starlink equipment, right? And You do not need to have expertise in coaching STEM kids and so on. So those things, you can learn so long as you have a passion or, something that you can relate to that. So because there are training programs that are available. So all you need is, people who are IEEE members, okay, who can work well within a team and who are available perhaps, during disaster recovery kind of thing, which means, you have to be able to take some time off from your employer and so on. So if you have that flexibility, okay, so those are the main things. But beyond that, yes, there are so many things you can do. If you find time, certainly you can become a volunteer. And then once you are in, you can always, find other ways. So those are all the opportunities.
Great, thanks. I've got tons of other questions over here, but I think I need to turn it over to the audience over here, see what other questions they have. Any questions? Start from here.
Good morning again. So my question is directed to Mrs. Moran. So does EPIC have like mentors so that persons who want to implement a community project, when they come to you looking for funding, do they have mentors who would like advise them as to how best they could carry out that community project?
That's a great question. So we have, EPICS has a committee of folks who are involved with service learning. A lot of them are faculty members who have engaged in service learning. So we do have some trainings that we have available to help you kind of put your project together. And we also open to having one-on-one coaching sessions with some of our committee members who can help you kind of navigate with that setup of your project at the beginning. And then what we do is for our funded projects, we ask them for where are some areas that you might need some additional support or additional help, and we match our mentors to that. So if it's a certain technical area that you want, we go into our database and try to find someone maybe that's local that has that same expertise. Sometimes we have teams that say, hey, I need some help with project management. And so we have teams that will, or mentors that will help you project manage your whole project and help you from start to finish to help you be more successful. So we can provide mentors at different stages of the process depending on what is needed. But one of the new things we want to do this year is some more coaching ahead of submitting a proposal. So you have some help with, okay, I want to do this project. What do I need to set up in order to have a competitive application that goes in? So thank you.
Good day, good day. I'm Halden Morris. I think one of the few life senior member of IEEE located in Jamaica section. I'll make a promise first. I'll become a HKL and I'll become a mentor. So that I've been resisting other activities, but I think I need to do that. So I'm pretty sure that I'll be nominated by my dear friend.
I think you've got some good friends on the room, yeah.
and several others. But that's just one thing. I like the project Move. I think it is awesome. We live in a disaster-prone area. And I'm thinking that IEEE Jamaica section could probably provide some kind of value in this area. And I'm glad that I'm hearing that somebody before me has been thinking about this. So I'm just wondering if we can, or how to access. I know it requires resources. We don't want to have to fly a box from US to come here to meet a disaster. So we probably need to look at how we can leverage the situation by having our own box here and probably to help the other islands around if we need to. But the idea is how can IEEE assist in getting this project going for Jamaica? I don't want to hear it as a talk shop. You know, we talk a lot, but we want to see the practical outcomes. We want to see a box located somewhere at UTech or UWI that we can call on to send to Montego Bay or somewhere else to help in a disaster. And of course, to engage in the STEM activities to get students from these institutions to be a part of this awesome project. And so probably you can give us some insights as to how, number one, how do we begin? Number two, how do we get a box or a truck? Number three, how do we engage with other echelons in the society, the fire department, the disaster preparedness department, and so on and so forth to get going. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess you're on there, Bala.
Let's try. The first thing is that you already have begun. Thank you. So again, for the rest of you folks, Professor Morris, here is the power of connectivity, these kind of conferences and so on, how it brings. He and I, we went to 41 years back, right, to the same school in Illinois. Of course, we didn't see each other. Probably we had seen each other, but did not recognize. But at least we are able to connect, relate to a few things, 40 years back, right? And then, have a stronger bond now when I leave Jamaica. And that's also a beginning for some of the things like HKN membership or MOVE and so on. Now, getting back to your question about MOVE, right? Certainly, I can put you in touch with folks who manage the intake of the new volunteers, okay? And certainly, they will find out what you can do. Certainly, you are now, by saying the things, that you said. So, you are going to lead IEEE Move Jamaica. What that basically means is, you are going to be asked, what is your expertise? Or we need expertise in these different people. Can you please bring us those different people, at least a core set of 8 to 10 people. So those things will happen gradually, systematically, and so on. Part of it is also the learning that we need on the other side, IEEE Move, like what kind of disasters do you have in Jamaica? What is unique in Jamaica in different geographic parts of Jamaica and so on. So that exchange will happen. So by the time, you probably, it takes some time, but it does happen. And you are pretty much, getting the ball rolling. And thank you for that.
We've got a question up there.
Oh,
We've got a question up there, I think.
Good afternoon. I'm Christian from Campion College, and this is a question for Ms. Moran. I saw that for EPICS, most of the projects would involve either creating or prototyping new technology, but does EPICS also support either improvements to currently implemented technology or deployment of completed projects in electrical engineering?
That's a great question. I'll say it depends. So the committee does like to see projects where the students are involved in that engineering design process. So we do tend to look for projects that are a little bit earlier in stages. That being said, if there's a technology that you have, but you found a partner and they said, this is great, but if you could make it do X, Y, Z, we'll help you get there. And it would take additional materials, right? It would take additional.
Well, that Go Baby Go project that the Etta Kappa New chapter is a really great example.
Right.
They did one of our Etta Kappa New chapters at Wichita State University adapted ride-on vehicles for children with disabilities. They worked with a partner called Go Baby Go. Yep. So again, they were able to take a technology, an electric car for children, and then make it special. Mm-hmm. For each child they did this for, they made it special for their particular disability. So there have been examples.
Right.
Like
So there are examples. And really to Nancy's point, if you're doing something special with it and you're taking it to the next level and designing it for something specific, a specific end user, a specific community, the committee is definitely interested in those projects as well. So we like to see that there's some sort of engineering design happening, some sort of innovation. And innovation can mean just innovating something for your community, making it less expensive, making it easier to use. Those are all things that can be considered innovative about a project. And then we can help you get those projects deployed in your community. So.
All right, I guess we've got one last question up there.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Trey Cardinal. I actually have two short questions. First for Ms. Moran, as it relates to if we have an idea that we already have thought out and we're not sure what who to contact, who would we contact to get that idea sorted out? And for HKN, if you're a graduating student, you're going to graduate, this is your last semester and you would like to be a part of HKN, how would you go about doing that if it's possible?
So great question. So you have an idea and you're not sure maybe where to take it. So one of the things that we say is, sometimes talk to your faculty members, talk to your university. There may be a department that you could talk with that could connect you. So say you want to do something with agriculture and you're not sure how to get in touch with farmers or those that are in that industry. Maybe ask your faculty member, are there other departments within your university that can connect you with a community organization? Maybe there's a local event that you could attend that has local community organizations there that you could go and talk with. I would encourage you also to reach out to the local IEEE section. They may have an idea of an organization that you might want to partner with. And that's more for the kind of community side of things. If you're looking for more of that technical expertise, again, I would consider talking with a faculty member that might want to support your project. We have projects where faculty are very involved with the writing of the grant and delivery of the project, so they can kind of help you make those connections and take your project to the next level. And the last thing I'll say is we will be doing, before every deadline, we always do a training of what goes into our proposals. And we have students that attend that can share ideas. And we're also going to be doing a panel event in April where we have past project leads that are going to talk about their stories and the tips that they've learned and ways to make sure their projects are successful. So definitely join our mailing list, follow EPICS and IEEE so you can get different updates of different resources we have. And finally, just check our project examples too, because there may have been a project, even if it's in another country, where they did something similar that you could take some ideas from as well.
So you're a graduate student here? Mm-hmm. Well, we can, if we were to, if CMU were to establish a chapter, if you're within 1 year of graduation, they can still induct you. Otherwise, it's waiting for professional. Your master's degree, though, does count for quite a number of years. So there would be a professional pathway to membership. That doesn't mean you couldn't help and be involved, right? EdUcap is for everyone, because everyone can benefit. Not everybody might be able to join, but everyone can benefit. And that's really, the point of this is that it really is there to help other people. We want to help engineers succeed. We want to see all of you succeed. So whether it's EdUcap, whether it's IEEE, region, section, technical society, student branch, it's all about helping you succeed. So, but we can get in touch. I'll check, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to help students. Love to watch this happen. Yeah. Love to watch you all do such wonderful things with your careers and your education.
I guess. Ashley, when was the deadline for submissions?
The next deadline is May 1st for our applications. Yeah. And so for a May 1st deadline, decisions are made over the summer, and then funding would be distributed in August and September timeframe so that you can kind of kick off the fall semester with a project. Oh. If you are not ready for that deadline, October 15th is the next one.
And so one thing, I asked the conference organizers to share your email addresses with me, because we do have a program coming up called Pathways to Industry. And I will send you out an invitation to join, to come as my guest, and to see some of the career advice, the presentations, the technical society will be there. Certainly want you to join us. So look for that invitation, and please join us for an event, a virtual event. We'd love to have you with us.
All right. Thank you, the panel. Thank you very much. Very informative.
All right. Thank you to everyone, the panel. I'm sure that we've learned a lot of stuff, a lot of information. There'll be a lot of more questions that are coming, Nancy, I'm sure. But I know that you're always available. So, Jane, Ms. Moran, and Nancy, you can seek to have your questions, concern, answered outside of the room, because I've gotten a couple text messages since you guys have been here to get some more information. So we'll provide that support on the outside. So again, thank you so much. And as usual, Bala is always handy. And Bala, actually, I like the idea that you brought to bear. A lot of my former students who are professionals are also interested in joining. So look out for some persons sending you information in regards to that. All right. Again, round of applause for the panelists. All right. Thank you so much. At this time, before we actually go to our next presenter, I'd like to take this opportunity to, give a quick shout out to the students in the house. I want to start with the younger set of our students first. It is heartwarming for me, especially being at the university, to see these youngsters here actually realizing that they want to be a scientist, an engineer. We know that they change their mind, but guess what? Just to be here, it is such a precious gem for us. So let's give them a shout out. Please stand up. Let's see you guys. We want to see you. Absolutely, absolutely. And we're not by no means we're not leaving out our senior students in high school, and I want to see all high schoolers represented by standing up and give them a round of applause as well. Now keep standing because we see some photographs being taken, please. All right. So a couple more. So for us, this actually epitomizes what this workshop pretty much means. It is really you guys who are the future, and we want you to get involved. We talk a lot today about volunteerism, and you would have heard about how it is that even at this stage you can get involved. So we're looking out for you volunteering in some way, somehow, as to be a part of the IEEE body. All right. So again, thank you so much for being here. All right, and this is now the big moment. I want to say that this is where our students have shown that they are not they're put. Are the university students? Oh my! Oh, you see, they're getting jealous. All right. So let's see the university students. All university students, please. So from all campuses, university students. All right. So I'm sure a lot. Don't sit us here. Don't sit. Have some pictures taken, guys. I'm sure that you guys, a lot of you guys, I know for sure that have been a part and parcel of the whole process of volunteerism, a part of the IEEE. And if you're not, what are you waiting for? We, as a Jamaica section, we are welcome you on board. We have our student chapter. I know that there's the UTech student chapter. We have the student chapter, the council for the UTech chapter here, Mr. Alexander. Oh, please stand and acknowledge Mr. Alexander. Lyndon, I know that this was your job a long time ago. I don't know if you're still there, the student chapter. So Lyndon is the UA student chapter counselor. And the CMU, I don't know if we have a student chapter. I know he was here yesterday, but we also have a student chapter at CMU. You're well represented. So we're happy that you're here. You're a part of the and parcel. And I hope that the information that you'd have garnered from this workshop will even help you on your path of growth and development further. So thank you. And thank you again for being here. All right, our next session is up, and for this part of our program, I wish to ask Donovan Wilson from the Union of Jamaica Alumni Association to come up first and introduce the topic at hand. And basically, the session is yours, Donovan. in terms of guiding us. I'm sure while we approach the close, this is going to be an exciting portion of the program. So, Donovan, it's over to you.
You know, as I listened to you talking, I was hoping you would keep going and then I would just sit and continue to listen. However, ladies and gentlemen, the big ones, the small ones, good afternoon to you all. I want to tell you that when I first had a conversation with Marie Hunter about this, she said to me that she wanted this part to be a celebration. And so when you started to recognize everybody, I said, wait, the party started without me. And so we are going to celebrate some people today. But I wanted to start by telling you a little bit about the organization that I'm president of, called the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations. I'm sure everyone in this room knows someone who has migrated from Jamaica, who is about to migrate, and who is thinking of migrating. Am I right? Anyone in this room who is thinking of leaving? All right. Over the years, we have had lots of Jamaicans who have moved on to other countries to pursue their education, to be with their family. But one thing they all had in common, they wanted to give back in some way to the school that they attended. And so they usually ended up forming an alumni association so that they could give back to their school. Many of you who are here today were invited because the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations reached out to your alumni chapter and asked them to make sure that students who are involved in electrical, in electronics, in anything to do with engineering is here today, and to make sure that at least one of your teachers was here with you. 33 years ago, it will be 34 this September, one of our consul generals in New York saw the number of alumni associations that were all over the place and found that almost every week he was being invited to speak at somebody's function, and that sometimes he was being asked to speak at 2 or 3 different functions on the same night. And so he said, why don't you guys come together and form one big organization? And you could work together to get things done and to be more effective as you try to help your schools. And so the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations was born. It started out with 17 members. And here we are today with 65 alumni chapters in the union. We have the universities. The University of the West Indies is a part. We have UTech. UTech is a part. We have many of the high schools. But more importantly, we have a belief that what we're doing starts with the primary schools. And so we have primary schools that are involved, and you will hear more about that. I think you're all very pleased with what you've heard from IEEE so far, right? And so at this point, I'm going to invite one of our IEEE colleagues, and he's become a very good friend over the last few days, Mr. Terrence Martinez. Did I get it right, Terrence? To come on up. Now, as Terrence is joining us, let me just say to you that he has been someone who's done a lot in the science field. So for all you science junkies out there, listen carefully. But more importantly, he is the director of IEEE's Robotics and Automation Society. Terrence, over to you.
I'm glad we're going last, or at least, usually I want to go first because, kind of get it over with. But it allowed me to kind of pivot a little bit because I heard some very inspiring stories in the last day or two. I'm going to tell a story that I probably know best because it's about me. So everything, of course, is about me. But the reason I'm doing that is just to give you some context because my road to IEEE is a little bit different. I feel that it'll give some insight to why I believe in it so much. Not just because I'm paid to do so, but really, you'll see where the journey comes from. But the thing that resonated with me probably in the last day was the new word I learned. I have to write it down so I can pronounce it. Multi-potential light. Did I get that right? And even for someone in there, I'll say mid-career, it resonated completely. And I'll tell you why. Growing up, I always thought I was going to be a doctor. That's sort of where my interest lies, all the way up through high school. And knowing that, I decided to let's try other things. So I did advanced physics and chemistry because I knew I'd take enough bio classes in undergraduate. So I did that. I took an electronics class where we learned circuits, and that electronics class was not meant for the scientifically inclined. It turned out to be a place where folks just sort of got an easy A. But so we essentially finished an entire 3-year curriculum in 1.5 years because it was not built for some folks that were, there's a handful of us, myself, and interestingly, 2 other engineer friends that I've kept in touch with throughout the years. And to accommodate the fact that we were still interested in it, they brought in a robotic arm that we can play with to program because we blew through that curriculum so fast that he had nothing else to go with. So I just want to keep that in your mind for a minute. I guess it's sort of self-prophesizing here where I'm going with this, but I still had dreams of med school. So I decided to maybe go into chemical engineering, hedge my bets. I'll call it the M word because it's so long. I still resonated with that a lot. So I did chemical engineering. I got an economics degree. And just for fun, I minored in physics just to really round out the whole thing. And so, I got recruited into a pharmaceutical and did IT work there of all things, right? So, the reason I'm saying all of this is just to say that the path will be a little bit windy. Keep trudging forward. I worked in pharmaceuticals and then went to medical devices in Fortune 500 companies, and then got recruited by IEEE in kind of a unique way as a product manager, more on the marketing side of things. And then I got to learn more about IEEE, and then I got to learn and meet the volunteers. And then, really became sort of like, this is where I want to be. This is where I should be. I progressed my career there from the membership side of things and the product side to technical activities. And Fred did a fantastic job in describing that. I was in future directions, so it was very exciting. You get to see some of the new technologies coming through. I got to work with quantum professionals and folks in the blockchain, all kind of the new cutting edge things. And then this opportunity in robotics came about. Again, this is new for robotics. The field is growing so fast that they didn't have enough staff to support it. So they wanted to build that, and that's where I come in. I've been at this job for 9 months now. Feels like years just because of the way IEEE runs sometimes. But it's been so fulfilling. So, just to summarize, I've sort of rounded out, medicine, nope. Engineering, sort of, chemical engineering, but, don't hold that against me. I'm in a room full of electrical engineers. And then IT, marketing, product management. Now I feel like I should be where I am because now I get to leverage all of those skills that I picked up. Even the economic side of things to help run the business that is the society, but also empathize with the scientists and their struggles. And just to be naturally curious. One thing I'll finish with before I go through the fun slides that you're all waiting for about how awesome robotics is that a positive question. Is it genetic? My son is now in IT and my daughter's studying biomedical engineering. So I don't know if that's a nature nurture thing. I'll let you guys debate that. But it warms my heart that that's, something that they're doing. And speaking to many of you, with all the doom and gloom out there, I see the future's bright. So with that said, everybody should think about, this is sort of my call to action. It'll come up on my last slide, but I'm going to pause it here early. Start a robotics chapter here in Jamaica. You're going to make your 10 easy in this room alone. So let me just fast forward through some of these. Oh, there's that. That's me. What a wonderful picture. So we went through my story. And so I'm going to go through why IEEE in robotics and automation. And the section is titled, Global Connections. And that's where I think that where Robotics and Automation Society can help, like really help make that connection. this is sort of that circular story that I talked about. We can skip through that. And from like a tagline sort of perspective, we're advancing robotics and automation technologies. Wow, that sounds very innovative as far as wordplay is concerned. But the piece to really focus in on is the global aspect of it. That's one thing that we pride ourselves on in global diversity, including many folks around the world. And the community grew, not quite, as far as the conference is concerned, as big as MTT's conference, but we're catching up. We're in the order of 5,000 attendees. And this is just sort of a picture where our focuses are on knowledge dissemination and exchange. This is an image of the robot dog park they did at the exhibit floor. So robots are fun. You guys are the epitome of showing how fun robots are. So I encourage you to think to the next level beyond, how you can win this competition, but then how do you, connect with the world? Education and initiative outreach. Again, this is probably part and parcel with this group, but that's something that we really have a strong focus on, even in today's. There's a lot of programs coming through there, and collaboration and networking. I can't stress that enough. The ability to meet all of you and meet one another, and then extend it globally. That's where I think the real leverage comes. And so my last sort of slide, so hopefully we can keep to time, is this is why we should be connecting with Robotics and Automation Society and the Jamaica section. Fostering robotics expertise and access to those folks, educational outreach and impact, support of your local robotics initiatives, networking, collaboration opportunities, and professional development and recognition. I think that's also a big deal. The Emmys are nice for the celebrities, but we have versions of that in IEEE, and I think they're really pretty cool to participate in and also get awarded in. So my call to action and my request is to start a robotics chapter. I don't have QR codes, but I think you all know where to find me. Thank you.
And I'm going to ask Terrence not to go anywhere. I want him to stay with us here because I get to do the fun part where I get to ask these guys questions at the end, right? And so he's going to hang out with us for a little bit while we go to our next presenter. You may have noticed from the different professionals that have spoken here today that the backgrounds are varied. They got the IEEE in different ways. The things they're doing is also very varied as well. And so it may have been about 2 weeks ago that I met a lady via Zoom. And the minute we spoke, I was hooked. I wanted to hear what she had to say. I wanted to hear more. And so I am not even going to try to tell you anything about her, except to say that she has a Bachelor of Science in Engineering and probably more than one. She has a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and she has a PhD in Mechanical Engineering. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask Dr. Michelle Gillian Johnson to join us.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to switch computers for a minute and present from mine.
And while she's switching, and we'll get her some technical assistance, even though I don't think she needs it, right? I want you guys to think about something. How many of you have actually been on a flight, and I'm not asking the IEEE members to be in on this one, have actually been on a flight that lasted more than 5 hours? Let me see some hands. Okay. I'm going to ask the members of the robotics team to take their hands down. And then I want to see the hands of those who've been on a flight that's been more than 5 hours. See a few? Okay, how about more than 10? Robotics, IEEE members, you are not eligible. Right? Who's ready? More than 10? More than 12? 1. More than 15? See, the hands are starting to become less and less as we go along, right? How about more than 17? All right. Well, there is a method to my madness, and there's a reason why I asked that question. But Dr. Johnson, I believe you're ready now?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, David. Thank you, IEEE. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to kind of also do what everyone's been doing and give you a little bit of background. First, always when I present, I always have to do financial disclosures according to my university, because I may talk about some things that we've invented in our labs, just the FYI. Greetings from the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. That's kind of currently the university where I'm a professor, associate professor in physical medicine rehab and in bioengineering. I sit in the School of Medicine and the School of Engineering. I want to start with a little bit of my history. This is my grandmother. Her name is Florette Luzlina Andrews Medley Gordon. She was born in 1914 in Jamaica, and she was very accomplished, vibrant. I love this picture of her. She was hyped and elegant, you know? And my grandmother was a seamstress, and she made wedding dresses. She was very, very accomplished, and someone invited her to come to the United States to kind of open up a shop. And so this was in the 50s. So that's how my grandmother got to the United States. And then it was because of my grandmother that myself and my siblings and my mother got to the United States. And I did 1 year of Immaculate, and then we came to the United States in 1980. And when we got to the United States, I was around 12. I did junior high school in the United States. And then it's been kind of this process of coming back. For me, this is full circle. And this article came out in the Gleaner recently, and this is my family. And it's I'm coming full circle because the way this article got in the Gleaner is because my brother, he comes back and forth to Jamaica a lot, and he was talking to the gentleman who wrote this article about his family, and the guy said, that sounds like a good story. And hence this article in the Gleaner. So I'm super proud of being a Jamaican and being able to come and stand in front of you today and kind of talk a little bit about what I do and kind of how I got into what I'm doing. So my grandmother had a stroke in 1994. And at the time I was doing a master's in robotics at University of California, Irvine. And I started asking myself, how can we make a difference in the lives of people who had brain injuries due to stroke? And at the time, rehabilitation robotics, which is the field that I'm now in, was really nascent. It was the beginning. There was probably like the second conference in it. And when I discovered that possibly people were there making robots for people with disabilities, all of a sudden it was a eureka moment. I definitely felt like the sun shining down on me going, oh, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And that led me to transfer and go to Stanford University. And a part of kind of pivoting and being a mechanical engineer is kind of, in order for me to do rehabilitation, which is in the medicine area, and robotics, was trying to learn the issues of medicine. What happens? You kind of have to get your head into the biology and the neuroscience of things and understand what's happening. For me, my bread and butter was stroke. How does stroke occur? Stroke actually happens to be the leading cause of adult disability in the United States and actually worldwide. Now, the key thing is that the bulk of stroke happens outside of the United States in what they call low and middle income countries. And so part of my passion was, how do I develop a research focus within this area? So my focus has been kind of developing technology. We call it rehabilitation robotics. Robotics, either they're robots that do therapy or robots that do what we call assistive devices. So just to give a little bit of definition, just in case people are not familiar, therapy robots are robots that we use and develop to support someone after a stroke. So after a stroke, oftentimes someone might have injury to the the upper extremity or to their lower extremity. And they might need exercise, but more sophisticated exercise. So we're not developing robots. And I always put this out. I'm not developing a robot to replace anyone. Not the doctor, not the nurse, not the physical therapist. The key thing is robots that can come alongside humans in a variety of ways to take care of those with different types of disabilities. Specifically, there's a lot of repetition involved in therapy. There's a lot of movement involved in therapy. And so if we can offload this type of like work onto smart robots, then we can have those people use their heads for the bigger ideas, right? So in many ways, I partner with clinicians, I partner with therapists to develop these systems. The second type is assistive devices, and these types of robots are there to support. For most people know of prosthetics, right? You know, okay, prosthetics are a type of an assistive device. And so they're replacing an aspect of the person's body. So we develop either therapy robots or robots that can support and come alongside persons for an assistive device. So my lab is, I started my lab at the University of Pennsylvania. And the idea of the lab is to develop these types of robots focused on people with brain injury, both adults as well as children. And we kind of revolve in the area of mobile robots, robots for neurorehabilitation, which is a fancy word for therapy, and then robots that could be used outside of the United States, or robots that would be more affordable. I just give you an example. This was one of the first robots that we developed. The Haptic Master was a robot that I purchased, but we retooled the environment to become what we called a therapeutic environment. We called it Adler. And the idea was the robot was attached to the impaired arm, the arm that needed work of the person with stroke. And our idea is that we would help people recover the use of their upper extremity. And this was an example of kind of a drinking task. They can practice. We programmed the robot to give forces that challenges the person. So this was one of the first systems we call Adler. I have a student, a PhD student that actually graduated recently. I thought the video worked, but the goal was to develop a telepresence robot, an affordable robot that could be placed in locations where they didn't have experts, and that the robot could then be used as a vehicle for communicating. And what we have is we have the robot programmed to do different exercises. So someone, a therapist maybe located in, America, could be directing someone in Jamaica on their movements and giving information about that. Then we also kind of think about robots what's a robot of the future? Thinking about humanoid robots that can be used and built to look or maybe feel like a human in one sense, but how could those robots be used wisely in the clinical spaces? And this is just another example of that. One of my visions after my grandmother had a stroke was to see what could I do about robotics that can take it outside of the US and put it into places like Jamaica, where maybe the economy wasn't as strong as in the US, but there is still a need for the support. So in thinking of how do we get robots in these places, and how do we start thinking affordable robots that are efficient, effective, but have a global reach. And so in thinking about that and studying that, myself and a colleague, we actually said, well, we want to go beyond. We want to think about robots in low and middle income countries across the world. So we partnered, and this book just came out. We edited this book, and we asked our colleagues across the world, in Japan, in places in South America, in the Caribbean. We had asked someone in Jamaica, but it didn't kind of work out. But we'll get you in the next book. But the idea was asking ourselves about where in the world are these robots? And if they're not in developing spaces, why aren't they in developing spaces? What are some of the barriers that prevent robots from being in development spaces? And one of the key things that we recognize is we have to come alongside the students and the leaders and the professors in those development spaces in order to allow them to innovate in a different way. Because a $200,000 robot that you can buy in the United States doesn't really necessarily make sense being in Jamaica. However, you still want the ability of that $200,000 robot. And when we think about the smartness of the professors here, how can we create innovation at an affordable price? Now, I think that's a part of why IEEE is here, is how do we bring that together, the innovation, the smart, and enable those that are located in places like Jamaica to develop transformative robots that can function here, and also to develop the local market here as well. So I'm gonna, as a Jamaican and as someone who loves to talk, I can talk for forever. So I'm gonna slip through some slides because I'm definitely talking a lot. We realized that the robots weren't in many low and income countries. And the big issues were the fact that they were always huge, massively expensive and very, very complex. So one of the things my lab in the most recent years have been thinking about is affordability and inclusivity. How do we make sure that we can include those in developing countries and that they can have access to these types of technology that we freely have more access to in the United States? Don't get me wrong, there are places in the United States that do not have access to robotics. The rural places, places in low resource settings in the United States as well. So my issue is trying to serve these places as well as places globally. We had a paper where we talked about, well, what are some of the ways we can innovate? And I want to kind of bring this out there because I want you to be thinking of how to innovate. One is thinking about ways you can use low-cost materials or 3D printing or things that are available in your own country and innovate on them in really out-of-the-box thinking ways to develop our robots. Now there's a huge area called soft robotics that's kind of using silicone and different types of material to create robots that can touch your skin. That was developed with someone going, how can I make these robots be able to touch you and be more closer to you? And thinking about things that are available in the country, how do we make new systems? Also thinking about, they don't have to be super complex, but can you use them in innovative ways? And can you have a multi-use robot system? So those are kind of ideas that we've been kind of playing around with. There are colleagues of mine that are working on affordable systems. These are some of the systems that have been developed and used with lower price points than 200,000. Most of these systems that I listed here are under 20K, but 20K is a lot in Jamaican dollars, right? So that's still an expensive robot. So how do we even get more systems like this at an affordable price? So this is some of the things that we've been doing. We've been kind of developing 1 degree of freedom robots that could be connected with games. We've also deployed this. We've sent one of the robots to Jamaica. It's no longer here because Alwyn left UTech. He took it back to the US, but we're still working to try to figure out how we can develop some systems like these. My students in my lab are kind of also thinking about new ways of motivating therapy, new control laws, new ways of creating a therapeutic environment using robots. I want to stop here and say, I think being here for me, and I'm excited about seeing all the youngsters from primary school all the way up to the university. I was in that place at some point, right? Dreaming big and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. My pathway wasn't very straight at all. No, if you knew me as a freshman at the University of Pennsylvania, because I actually went there for my undergraduate degree, and I was there and you said, Michelle, are you going to be a professor and come back to Penn and teach? I would have been like, hell no. Because I was not in that space at that time. But, I'll say God works in mysterious ways. Now I'm back in that place and I see students like you all the time and I encourage you and I say, it doesn't have to be a straight line as long as you keep striving for the best and taking advantage of the network. Everyone's been using this term network, taking advantage of the network that's around you, building on that, and then you can go places. I want to mention this because I have an Apple Watch, and I remember watching Inspector Gadget. I don't know, this might be out of some of your way, but I love this picture. Back then, they were dreaming of Apple Watches, where the watch had a camera, all kinds of stuff already. The phone had everything you needed. And I think it takes that type of imagination, and I think we have it in droves here in Jamaica, to really make a difference and to make this country, you know, excel and have all the things that we need to be able to be taking care of those with brain injury, taking care of those with disabilities, taking care of the elderly, all those things. And I want to thank you for that opportunity. I hope I didn't take too much time, Donovan. All right.
We're going to make sure that Dr. Johnson hang out with us for a little bit, because I'm sure there's going to be questions for her. But as we get ready for our next speaker, she touched on a couple of things. And I would say to everyone here, dare to dream. Dare to dream about how far you can go. The word networking keeps coming up in everything that we talked about. And I sat there and it had me thinking. And you talked about the light bulb moment. I think I had one while I was sitting there. I don't think I ever had a job that I got just by simply doing an application and sending it out. I think every job that I've ever had, it came from someone saying to me, I want you to apply for this post, or someone saying, I want you to call this person. And Marie, that included my Lehman Brothers job. So, you know, it goes to show that networking is really, really important. So we heard Terrence and we heard Dr. Johnson. Are you warmed up yet? Because now we're going to hear from one of our own. And if you don't know him, you should know him. And before this session is over, I hope you know him. And in the same way that Fred wanted to make sure that his phone is going crazy, I hope that you will make sure that Dr. Lyndon Falconer's phone is going crazy when he's done. Come on up, Dr. Falconer. And I know there's a story behind those trophies that he's bringing up, right? He didn't just bring them for show.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's nice to see you all. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm here to share with you a number of things. I need to give you some advice. I'm going to take a different path in terms of, in comparison to other speakers. I'm going to explain to you the pathway to become a developer of robots, how to build robots. What paths can I take to build robots? How do I get into that? And I want to let you know that science is very important in driving you in making decisions and in putting you on that path. And I'm going to start with physics, the subjects of physics. Can I get the slide? Let me get the slides off, please. Okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, go. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Yeah. All right. So I'm here. So, robotics. There are a lot of things that you need to learn and to be able to do well in robotics. I'm not going to focus on all of them. I'm going to focus on the core knowledge areas. So, as you can see here, knowledge in the field of electrical or electronics engineering, computer science, computer engineering, that's the software side, and mechanical engineering, that's the hardware side. These are the core knowledge areas that you need to know to be able to build robots, right? Core knowledge areas. There are other things, but we don't have the time to go into them. So I want to start focusing on Jamaica and the Caribbean. What type of robots can we build? What kind of robots can we use to enhance our society? How can we improve humanity in the Caribbean and in Jamaica? We have robotics in agriculture, right? We can develop robots to assist the farmers. We can develop robots in the industries, as you see in car manufacturing and so on. We can develop self-driving cars, aerial delivery drones, and so on. We can have security robots. We know that security is an issue in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. We can create robots for solutions in these areas, and we can also create assistive robots. So at the University of the West Indies, I'm giving you a background of myself now, right? So I'm currently the Deputy Dean in the Faculty of Engineering at the University of the West Indies. All right, so I have a PhD in electronics and computer systems engineering. I lecture in electronics engineering at Ieee and biomedical engineering program at Ieee, and also the electrical power engineering program at Ieee. Okay, so the important things now, I'm gonna get to the trophies, yes? Students' robotics competition is very important, but I'm just giving you a segue on where we want to reach. Of course, we want to be involved in competitions, but at the end of the day, we want to create a solution that solves a real world problem. But how do we get there? What are the subjects that you need to know in order to be able to build robots? So let us start with students in the high schools, right? So we start with the subjects of mathematics. Very important. You need to be able to do the calculation, do the calculus, the trigonometry, because robot arms move in different planes and at different angles and so on. And you need to do physics. Very important, because guess what? The robot has to interact with the environment. The robot has to sense light, temperature. The robot can emanate a sound and so on. And it is physics that define how we interact with nature. So you have to be good at physics. Of course, programming is very, very important. And I can't stress that anymore. And I want to let you know that programming is like the next mathematics. And I'm going to get there. Depending on what you're doing, programming may be more important than mathematics. And I'm going to explain my point as I go along. All right, so of course, art and technical, drawing and so on, those things are important, but the core knowledge areas, mathematics, physics, IT, computer science. Now, when you move to university at the undergraduate level, of course, you can study electrical engineering, electronics engineering, computer science, computer engineering, right? And with all these fields, you can move into robotics. Of course, you can study other things, but I'm focusing on these core areas, right? Some core subjects that will assist, of course, is mathematics again, electronics, right? Computer science again, control systems, signals and systems that some students don't like, signal processing, very important. Of course, the CAD applications, these are needed. And again, mechanical systems, mechanical engineering. And I didn't mention the point that you need to join robotics club. You need to be a part of a robotics club. So starting from the primary schools, the prep schools, it is very good when you be a part of a robotics club and you start to create things. Of course, you don't have to be studying science, but you can be in a different field, but you still join that group and then you work with that group to create a solution. So that's the aim. We want to create a solution. So join a robotics club and enter robotics competitions. Now, after graduating, right, from undergrad and going to postgrad, of course, many of you would want to go and work to make some money. No problem with that. But if you want to continue in robotics, then of course, you need to continue to do advanced work. We don't want to continue doing basic robots. Now we're going to look to build more complex robots to solve problems, security problems, agriculture problems, right? So now you can move on to do your MPhil and PhD, as Dr. Johnson said, right? You can join her research group, right, to do MPhil and PhD. You can join the master's program at Ieee and at UTech to do more advanced studies in robotics. And of course, you can become an entrepreneur, right? Because by the time you graduate, you would have garnered the knowledge and the skills to say, okay, I can create the solution. And then you can go into entrepreneurship, right? And you can continue to do research and development. Now, I want to stress on two important points. You have always heard of theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. And some people say, oh, practical knowledge is more important than theoretical knowledge. And some persons say theoretical knowledge is more important. No, what I want to tell you, both of them are important. For you to be a very good engineer and design and build things to solve real-world problems, you need to be very good theoretically and practically. Because before you start building, you need to design. When you get that idea, you need to say, okay, how can I build a solution towards this? You don't start creating as yet. You're at the design or the planning stage, and that's the theoretical stage. And for the theoretical stage, you need strength in mathematics, signal processing, control systems, electronics. These are the background, the sciences you're going to pull on to start to do your design. And when you move now to the implementation stage, that's the practical stage. And that's where you're going to draw on knowledge from programming. That's where the skills in programming comes in now. Embedded systems. Now you're programming that microcontroller or that computer on the chip. You need to interface with the ports to communicate with the motor drivers, the sensors. You have to understand the electronics, the circuits behind that. Now we're drawing on those practical knowledge, electronics, the mechanical systems, and so on. So I want you to leave here knowing and saying that you need practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge. After me, practical knowledge, theoretical knowledge. Very important. So we have applied this approach at the University of the West Indies. And I must say, within 4 years of attending the Southeast Con competition in Region 3, with all those 4 years, we have got a trophy. Or, all those 4 years. Yeah. So let me start. In 2016, I was a student advisor from that time. And that was a rough year because when we went, it was the first time we were carrying such a large robot to the competition and we didn't package it properly. So when we took the robot off from the airport, it was all destroyed. Oh my God, it was damaged. And we were saying, well, we spent the entire night. We didn't sleep. That was the students putting back the robots together, gluing different parts that was broken and so on. So the robot was not properly aligned. So you can understand. So we have to change up the software to basically get it working. And in that year, we came third in the student hardware competition. And the trophy. Right. So 2017, we learned some lessons, and the students were very good. As I said, they were very strong practically and theoretically. And we had a very good robot. And we also entered the paper competition, the student paper competition. And yes, we won the student paper competition. We came first. As you know, in competitions, it gets quite testy at times. And Ieee was like a favorite because, you know, in the universities, they have competitors. And so in the US, in the southeastern region, some of the other schools who weren't at the top, they were cheering for us. Yeah, we're going on well. In 2017, we had a very good robot. The robot could complete all the tasks, but the student made one mistake, right? So when the robot moved off, the robot didn't, because of inertia, it took some time to move and the guy pushed it. Yeah, the judges didn't see. The judges didn't see. And the robot completed the course. And everybody was cheering, win, we must win. And then a student from another school saw. Yeah, and went and told the judges that they touched the robot. Yeah, so they disqualified us. But that's yeah, that was something else. And then, as you can see, in 2018, again, we continued to perform well. We came third in the student hardware competition. In 2019 was our last competition. That was before COVID. And we came third in the student open competition. During COVID that year, when the conference went online, or it was postponed face-to-face, the students were there in the hotel, but they had to return to Jamaica, so they didn't get to participate. And from then, we haven't returned to Southeast Con. Yeah, we haven't returned. We have some difficulties. We can discuss that. We haven't returned since then, right? So we're hoping to return. And as you can see, our trophies are shown here. And these are some pictures from the competition. As you can see, some pictures from 2016. This was 2017, the first place. And this was 2018 and 2019. So in closing, as you can see, that practice of strong theoretical knowledge and strong practical knowledge, when you put that together, you can solve a lot of problems. Thank you very much.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, when I first heard about IEEE, my first thought was that this was an organization that was primarily men. But do you notice that the ladies are all over this thing, right? And as I looked around, and Dr. Falconer spoke about mathematics, years ago when you mentioned math, the ladies would shy away. But you look at this group and it's like, yeah, just another subject. We're here. You know, everyone knows the name Albert Einstein, right? Well, there's a global robotics competition in which medals are awarded for those people who have done well. One of those medals is named after Albert Einstein, and it's awarded to teams whose robots performed the best during the competition, but also who exemplified all the tenets of the first global community. And I mention that for a reason. Has anyone ever heard the name Katherine Johnson? Okay. There's also an award that's given in robotics to the team that shows the best work in terms of displaying their engineering documentation, right? After all, when you see those robots out there, there's a lot of work that went into that development that you finally see, and that is documented somewhere. Has anyone ever seen the movie Hidden Figures? Well, if you saw the movie Hidden Figures, you will remember that Katherine Johnson was the woman who figured out the path for a spacecraft to orbit the Earth and to eventually land on the moon. She was actually awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest award that is given to a civilian in the United States. At this point, I am going to ask a lady who has been at the forefront of Jamaica's robotics and who many persons here do not know is actually an engineer in her own right. She's the immediate past president of the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, and I am going to ask Miss Leslie Ann Samuel if she could come up to join us. And by the way, Leslie Ann is actually a professor as well. So please know that our women are doing well.
It's still morning? Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all. It's still morning, right? No, it's afternoon. It's been that kind of day. Thank you so much, Donovan, for including me as a part of the UJA delegation. I am truly glad to be here with you all. And yes, I am an engineer by training, and I always say it that way because it's that engineering training that has provided me the skills to do problem solving, to do logical thinking, all of those things that engineering trains you to do that has put me on my very different path, of which engineering was really just a part. I worked for many, many years in telecom. Anybody that has been in the telecommunications business knows once you get in, you never get out. But it has served me extremely well. But I want to make sure that I begin by acknowledging all the female engineers in the room. When Donovan told me about this opportunity, I, of course, immediately Googled my IEEE and looked at the Jamaica section and didn't find not one female name. You know, it was like, this must be old, you know, could never be current. But I'm sure that will change with time, with all of you that are here, that are pursuing and thinking about engineering as part of your future. So Donovan told me that I had 3 minutes and that I could only have 1 slide. Okay, so that's why I don't have a fabulous presentation for you, but I'm going to try and cover a little bit more about UJA's involvement in robotics, how we got there, why we got there. I'm sure Donovan mentioned, I apologize, Mr. President, I missed your introduction. So I don't know if he told you that we are an umbrella organization, an organization of organizations representing alumni associations of primary, secondary, and tertiary schools here in Jamaica. And we currently have somewhere in the neighborhood of 65 member organizations now that are part of UJA. We are all volunteers. You have heard conversations about that throughout our meetings over the last day and a half. So know that volunteering is a tremendous way to learn skills. It also is a way to strengthen skills that you have. And it is through volunteering that I learned all of my leadership skills. I actually teach organizational leadership for the University of Maryland. Okay, so, you know, you never know where life is going to take you. So please consider that and don't get nervous about what the future will hold. It will all work out. Just follow his path. Okay, so back in 2019, somewhere around there, one of our member organizations by the name of Jamaica College, yes, clap them. One of our premier high school for boys came to one of our meetings and indicated that they had created a robotics team, and they requested permission to participate in something called First Technology Challenge in their regional competition in New York City. So they were actually bringing a team from Jamaica to participate with high schools in the greater New York area. So they saw it as an opportunity to expand what they had started to other high schools in Jamaica. We were all over it. I tell you, I was not the president at the time, but I was certainly instrumental in putting together the presentation that went to my high school that created our first robotics clubs. Yes, I went to Immaculate. So what happened is that through UJA and our high school member organizations, we encourage the creation of robotics clubs. Okay, you heard Dr. Falconer talk about join a robotics club. That's how you get involved. And you learn all kinds of things that either you did know or you don't know, but great opportunity to learn some things and have some fun and maybe even see the world. So that happened between 2010 and 2017. We had some local smaller competitions between some of high schools, 4 or 5 high schools would come together and they would do a little competition. They would build a robot that would do some things, and that is how the clubs actually got started. Then miraculously in 2017, we were invited, believe it or not, because of JC's involvement with the organization called FIRST. FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. They are a nonprofit organization that believes that they want to help our students across the globe, to embrace STEM because they believe it is the future, and that it will help you prepare for all of the opportunities and challenges of the 21st century. So they decided to establish something called, I think Donovan mentioned it a minute ago, First Global Challenge, or FGC as we call it for short. So what that mission was all about is they wanted to bring students together from all across the globe, from as many countries as they could. They would identify what they believe to be a global problem, and they would model that problem in the form of a robotics competition. And so our countries were invited to send a team of 5 students and some coaches to this global competition. The first one was held in 2017 in Washington, D.C. And because of UJA, we sponsored the team from here to Washington, D.C. It was fabulous. There were about 160 countries in Washington. The food was terrible. So we had to bring in our Jamaican network food connection to feed the students, but we learned from that. So Washington, D.C. was the first in 2017. In 2018, they went to Mexico City, Mexico. So we took a team there as well. In 2019, we went to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Okay, that's what Donovan was asking about with that long flight. Yep, lots of hours. Okay, then COVID came and we did some virtual competitions. And then in 2022, we went to Geneva, Switzerland. And last year we went to Singapore. So I think you're going to meet some of those students a little bit later today who will talk about that Singapore experience. Donovan also mentioned about the various awards that UJA has, not UJA, that Team Jamaica has achieved. And, you know, it's important to understand that what FIRST is about is not just the robotics. They believe in something called gracious professionalism. And they have coined a word called cooperation and competition combined. And so the evaluation that they do for that Albert Einstein Award that Donovan mentioned has only a very small part has to do with the actual robotics competition. They are looking for behavior. They are looking for communication. They are looking for teamwork. They are looking for the students to be able to express themselves, both in writing and verbally. They are looking for a rounded individual to work with others to solve global problems. So you see the opportunity that this provides, that we just had to be a part of making it happen for Jamaica. So, just him telling me I have to wrap up. Okay, so with that, let me also mention the other program that started not in 2017, but in 2018, but spurred on by that activity back in 2009, 2010, Jamaica established a First Technology Challenge Jamaica organization, which is now an official affiliate of First. So we are now able to have competitions here in Jamaica, robotics competitions that are part of the First family, and that the winners of the competition here gets to participate in the global FTC competition that has for the last few years been held in Houston, Texas. So UJA has been a part of helping FTC Jamaica expand. When they started, they had about 12 or so schools participating. We have 45 on tap for this year. I know I'm telling me I only have a few moments, but there's one story that I must tell you. The gentleman who is the affiliate representative for First is a gentleman by the name of Gavin Samuels. Yes. Yes, that's all of the FTC and FGC team clapping, because Gavin has been our team coach, our team manager since the very beginning. He was actually a part of that very first team that went to New York as a part of the Jamaica College team. Gavin became head boy at Jamaica College, went to Ieee, studied computer science, computer technology, and is now the head cybersecurity person for the Barita group of companies. Okay? Now you understand why this is so important. He's a wonderful example of the possibilities. I think that's all I am being afforded to tell you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know that some members of the IEEE team actually had a flight to catch, and so they had to run out. So I want to apologize on their behalf. I also want you to know that I know that I'm standing between you and lunch, so please bear with me for a couple more minutes. Not just because I'm standing between you at lunch, and I know people don't like cold lunches, right? So we want to get you there. But I also wanted to tell you, earlier, I was just told some bad news. The bad news is that we're only doing half a day today, and half a day school don't come with lunch, right? All right, so just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, earlier, we spoke about the little ones who are involved in robotics. And we're talking about students who are at the 6 to 10, 6 to 12 age group. And there were robotics competitions for the high school kids. There were robotics competition for the college kids. Well, I want to have a lady come and just say a few words to you. And she's very brief, right? But I want you to know that she is the one who was instrumental in making sure that robotics took place for the primary schools, for the very little ones. And working alongside Yuja and Leslie Ann, right, they were able to have the first Lego Leads competition last year. And the little ones, by the way, that stood up earlier, they were some of the winners in that first Lego Leagues competition.
Thank you, Donovan. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Evelyn Godden, UJA Director, and as Donovan mentioned, I represent the primary school. UJA is achieving so much. We are now promoting primary school robotics within the primary school. In January 2023, we launched the robotics program, we kicked off at the working with Gavin Samuels out of JC, and he was our partner. And we kicked off the scrimmage at JC College, and we have 10 primary school. As you can see, those are the primary schools that we have who participated. You see our logos. Robotics is about the future, and that is why we are so passionate and lending our support for it. As I mentioned, we had this scrimmage at JC in April 23, and then we moved on to the University of West Indies, where we had the inaugural competition for the primary schools. It was a moment. It was a moment to see the youngsters. They are out there doing what they do. And these youngsters, of course, will be going on to the high school. They are your feeder school. So we did everything that we could to make sure it was an exciting experience for them. Just please allow me, I know we don't have too much time, but I just want to highlight the schools who participated in that. We have Beulah All Age, Friends of Port Maria, well, and I know what I gotta go before I get to the winner. I want to make sure we shout out all the schools who were there, and then I'll get into the specific of the winners. Thank you so much. And so we had Shortwood, New Day, Pike Primary School, and within York Street, I hope I don't leave anyone out, York Street, and what's the other one? I know I'm leaving somebody out. But all the schools who participated went there and had an amazing time. From that, we had 3 schools who did extremely well. They all did well. But the champion award was awarded to Beulah. Beulah All Age. And if Beulah is in the house, please stand up, take a bow. And Pike Primary School did the performance award. Pike, stand up. Take your bow. Those are the teachers and the coaches who represented Pike. And of course, Shortwood Practicing School in Kingston, headed by Mr. Andre Hewitt, they think. So I'm going to ask the other schools, Friends of Port Maria by Dr. Lorna Fairweather and the coach, Mr. Green, please stand. York Street Primary, out of the great city of St. Catherine. Stand up and take your bow. And last but not least, and we have New Day Primary School, headed now by Miss Cassie and her team. Please stand, take a bow. I just want to share a little bit that the experience at, did I mention York Street? Okay, don't want to leave anyone out. At that event, we talk about food, Leslie always talk about how food unites us. It's nice to celebrate and have food. That day, we had the best food at UWI, and everybody, and to see all the rural schools coming in, and with the Kingston school and the rural school, they dominated. And they always say, we never dominate. But they did that day. So, we all dominated, but normally the rural schools coming in and did what they had to do with the food, the relationship, the partnership with the high school was an amazing experience for myself as well as the primary school. I want to also add that we have several high school here today. And I just want to shout out some of the high school who has been mentoring the primary school. We can't do this alone. It's a team. And we have York Castle who has been mentoring. We have Meadowbrook in the house, Mr. Shemoy Weller and Antoinette, who has helped us. And of course, Immaculate is mentoring Shortwood. We have Edwin Allen, who mentored Beulah. So we have quite a bit. And so we need the high school to help. Glenmore. We want to make sure we have our high school helping us. We can't do this alone. We need you guys' help. And you guys are, you kick it off first and doing well. So we need you guys to help us along in this space. A lot has been said about STEAM for the last couple of days. Elementary students is greatly important. It allows students to practice problem solving and science and engineering. As students explore the world and the team, how things work, they develop critical thinking, skills that will help them through their lives. This is why UJA is seeking to expand number of primary schools to enter the first Lego Leagues competition, a dream that we can all achieve. So help us to make that dream happen. We want to make sure primary school is launched in all, robotics in all the primary school. And thank you for having me there this afternoon to share a little bit about the primary school. As you can see, I'm passionate about it. So thank you so much. Donovan, I think I didn't do too long.
And you know, ladies and gentlemen, let us not forget, as we talk about nonprofits, that IEEE is actually a nonprofit organization. Let us not forget that the great work that they're doing is being done because they care to spread the word about engineering stuff. You know, earlier I talked about a lot. I talked about Albert Einstein and the award. I talked about the Katherine Johnson Award. And I was setting everyone up for the fact that today we have with us our national winning robotics team. This is the team that in 2022 actually won the Albert Einstein Award. And in 2023, they won the Katherine Johnson Award. And so I'm going to ask the members of the team if they could stand. And I'm just going to ask two representatives of the team if they could come on down. Mark, if you and Teja Lee could join us, right? And let's give them a round of applause. And please keep standing so that folks can take some pictures as well as Mark and Teja Lee come on down to join us. All right? Come on around, yeah. So now I get to ask a few questions, right? First of all, Mark Anthony is actually one of the young coaches who went with the team to Singapore. And when I was talking to everyone about the long flights, well, to give you an idea of what it took for them to get there, an hour and a half from Jamaica to Miami, 10 hours from Miami to Turkey, and then another 11 hours from Turkey to Singapore. And that's just one way. And then they had to turn around a few days later and repeat that process. So, ladies and gentlemen, they certainly had an experience, right? So, Mark, tell us a little bit about that experience as your first time as a coach, but also as someone who had been there before as a student, right?
Once again, hello, everybody. So my first 2 years in robotics was actually spent with Jamaica College. We were one of the competitors in the FTC program. From FTC, I was asked to join the FTC program in 2019, in which the team actually came third in Katherine Johnson as well. So the transition from being a student to being a coach is a little interesting. Your priorities change a lot. For student, it's more just robots. Being a coach, it's more making sure everybody is present and accounted for. Robot is okay, everybody is fed, everybody is okay. Completely different from being a student. But I'm extremely proud of every single one of the students that participated this year, and the students from Geneva as well who spent their time to assist the students for this year. Proud of everybody and grateful for the opportunity from Usual to give us the opportunity to travel and participate, as well as IEEE for having us here today. So yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, occasionally I'll ask you the same question. Tell us a little about it from your perspective. I mean, here you are. I think there were just two young ladies on the team, right? And this year, by the way, there was 196 countries that took part in this contest. So tell us a little bit about how it was for you.
All right, I'm a bit short. So, well, I joined the first Global Challenge team after my first year of robotics at AISK. That's the FTC team. And I can say that while I was pretty much competent in physics, math, all of the theoretical knowledge that was displayed earlier, I hadn't had that much experience with the practical side of everything. So being able to, join the national robotics team and just learn so much from all these students from different schools, it was truly a tremendous experience. And for anybody who's interested in robotics and doesn't have much experience, I'm telling you, you can go in with minimal knowledge and the team will build you up. So about my, okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah. So traveling to Singapore was the first time that I ever left the Western Hemisphere. And I was not prepared for the backache and the sore legs. And the food was definitely interesting. But what I can say is that meeting different people from different countries with different cultures was an eye-opening experience. There were teams there who had all-girls teams, yeah, women in STEM, So being able to get that exposure was truly tremendous. All right.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And, just really quickly here, right, Dr. Johnson, I'm going to leave the last word with you, right? You talked about going from Jamaica and going to school overseas. You talked about being at UPenn and about your experiences, right? But what would you say to any of these students who are leaving home, perhaps traveling for the first time to go to school in a foreign country?
I would say the first thing is to be open, and to stay open in terms of how to meet people, and kind of not bring you culturally to the location, but also to bring the idea that you're on an adventure to discover. It can get lonely, especially if you're by yourself, but that's the whole point of places like UJA and meeting and becoming involved in the community, whatever that community is. I know when I first got to the United States, it was trying to figure out what that community is. I first thought that the community would be all Black Americans, but it ended up being all immigrants. I got to be friends with the Koreans, like everybody who was in America for the first time, that they became my community. And then because we were all going through the same issue. And I thought first I was going to find all the Jamaicans didn't find Jamaicans. It was the Puerto Ricans. It was all the people who were coming to America and figuring it out. And so I think a part of staying open is recognize that your community doesn't have to look like how you expect it to look, and just be open to making connections and making the network, no matter what they look like or how they sound. But if they have the same goals and ideals, then you'll make it. That's the advice I would give.
And Dr. Johnson, I'm going to wrap by asking the same questions of everyone. You have the mic, so we'll take you first.
Okay.
Then we'll take Leslie and then come on down. But it's the same question for everyone. You have 30 seconds to answer. We are wrapping, right? And the question is this: home or abroad? Why? Why not?
Home or abroad? Why?
As in studying in Jamaica, going overseas to study. Pick one and tell us why or why not. 30 seconds.
I can only talk about what I experienced, which was abroad. So I don't know. It was a chance to meet a variety of people from diverse backgrounds, from diverse economic levels, and to learn about who I was as a person and to find my place within that culture of the diversity of that university.
Thank you. Leslie, and home or abroad? Why not?
I don't think it matters. Honestly, I think it's what you do with the experience is what matters. But if you go abroad, give it back, give it forward. Don't forget Jamaica ever. So if you go and study abroad and you end up staying somewhere for a while, just give forward, all right? Do something, volunteer to do something for Jamaica, even while you're abroad.
Dr. Falconer, let's hear your viewpoint.
Yeah, when I was a student, I developed a quote that says, your future depends on you and not the university that you attend, right? And especially in the information age. So it doesn't matter where you study. So I would say, depending on the situation, maybe home would be better, or you can go overseas. But the future depends on you.
Thank you very much, Evelyn.
Okay. I'm going to just expand a little bit on what Leslie had mentioned. I know at yesterday's conference, Dr. Kevin Brown, I think, mentioned that most of us leave Jamaica and go away and come back. And when we come back, we pay it forward, right? So whether you're here or not, and you go back and you make a difference, you get your degrees in the US, we always come back and pay it forward and give back to our community. So I don't think it really matters where you are, as long as you pay it forward and give back to your community.
Thank you, Teja Lee. You haven't done it yet, but I want to get a sense of where you're headed. So talk to us.
All right. Well, then, I also agree that it's mostly about what you do with the education that you have. But I also think that it's very important to go where the resources are, where you know that the field that you want to study is well developed. There are lots of professionals there. So while I applied to universities in Jamaica, I also applied to universities abroad that I know have like well-established research laboratories for the things that I want to do. Yeah.
Thank you. And Mark.
I think abroad, just to get the experience, the life experience, as well as the access to, as Teja said, more resources and more developed programs. But when you finish, feel free to come back.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. To our audience, I want to say thank you for hanging in there with us. And in case you're surprised, let me just tell you this. Marie talked about not wanting to date herself, right? I attended this university more than 35 years ago. I actually attended UTech when it was known as the College of Art, Science, and Technology. Thank you all very much. Mr. MC.
So I just wanted to add a few words. We have some gifts for the students, which we're going to give to Donovan, and he can distribute those. Those are from the Robotics and Automation Society of IEEE for the members of the team and the winning team. Before we wrap up for the day, I just wanted to share with you before we have the next speaker, sorry. I wanted to just share with you a tale regarding networking. When we decided to do this workshop, Sophie Muirhead, who you met yesterday, our executive director, said to me that she had read this article about the team that had won this award, and might we not include them in the event? I'm thinking, well, how will I ever make connection to this team? But she sent me an article that had been in the paper about the winning team, and it says, wouldn't have been possible without UJA. I'm thinking to myself, what's UJA? And so I go to their website, and I see that, I say, well, who's on the board? Maybe I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And it says President Donovan Wilson. Well, as Donovan alluded to, Donovan and I worked together for about 15 years. I could not believe the coincidence. I contacted him immediately, and then he was able to get his organization on board. And it was easy, wasn't it, Donovan? Because we trusted each other. And we knew each other, and we had a common goal and a vision. So networking is so important, and you never know when it's going to come into play. Thank you so much for coming, and for Dr. Johnson and everybody. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much to the team. I'm truly inspired. Let's hear it for a big round of applause for the team again. I think we had the next speaker, but she left. So we have one more speaker for the day. The speaker is Todd Johnson, and Todd is the director, principal director for energy in the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunication, and Transportation. And he is a professional engineer, electrical engineer. Yeah. with several years of experience across the energy, oil, and gas utility and food manufacturing industry. He currently holds the position of Principal Director and in the Ministry of Transport, Energy, Science and Technology. Transportation, my apology. And I would love to hear, because this is a very interesting, this is the ministry that actually controls the whole aspect of the STEM education industry in Jamaica. So I want to welcome Todd. So please join me in welcoming Todd on stage.
Pleasant afternoon, everyone. I came with the impression that I was going to speak to future engineers, but not knowing that the room was filled with such superstars and great talent. And as a government official, I'd like to salute each and every one of you for your commitment to becoming engineers in the future, and of course, for your accomplishments thus far. Originally, it was scheduled for Minister Vaz to speak. However, I must inform you that he is unable to attend due to previously committed ministerial duties. However, he sends his sincerest apologies and unwavering support for this workshop. He passionately believes in the transformative power of science and engineering and in the untapped potential of young minds like yourselves to drive Jamaica's future and progress. Of course, in his absence, I stand here before you as a fellow champion of innovation and firm believer in the critical role you will play in building Jamaica's future. From the energy standpoint, I'd like to paint a picture for you with respect to the vision that we have at the ministry, where we envision by 2050 having a carbon neutral society powered by at least 50% renewable energy. And of course, incorporating the best practices of energy efficiency and conservation. This will lead to the reduction in our balance of payments, where our government will have more funds for investment, not only for our nation, but also for the future generation, as well as improving our national competitiveness with respect to our industries. And of course, to reduce the brain drain so that we can have greater jobs with greater potential to have greater pay for the future. Of course, reaching this vision is going to require for all of us together to harness the immense potential and innovative spirit of our people, which we see in this room here today. We need your commitment, your dedication, and your unwavering passion for engineering and science. We need you to drive advancements in sustainable energy for the future, to spearhead advancements in manufacturing and automation, which I get a strong sense of that in this room from the wealth of knowledge and experience from introductory to intermediate, which also seems to be advanced when it comes to robotics. Also, with respect to design, innovation, and infrastructure and communication systems. The challenges we face are real, but the rewards are immense. By cultivating a vibrant ecosystem of engineering and science, we can contribute significantly towards Jamaica's gross domestic product. We can reduce the burden on our people. We can raise the levels of poverty, reduce the levels of poverty. I'm happy to see you paying attention. And we can spark a new era of sustainable growth. But these goals won't be achieved solely through technical excellence. We need an ecosystem that fosters a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship, which I'm sure you have heard as a common theme throughout this workshop. Also, we need strong private and public partnerships for investments in the youth and also investment in education and training. As a graduate of the UTech, Jamaica, myself, where I studied electrical engineering. I've had the privilege to serve my country through our local industries in utilities, manufacturing, and of course, oil and gas and energy. I've had the opportunity to provide tangible results through my engineering and of course, networking with experienced engineers who I've had as mentors. And I can say that it has been a truly rewarding career thus far for me. And in my current capacity, I'm looking forward to giving back to our country and helping to create the pathway to a clean energy future and carbon neutrality by 2050. Please note that this workshop is your launch pad. Each and every member in here is now part of your network. And of course, with the respective chapters of IEEE that you will seek to join and also network with. It is your springboard to unleash your creativity, your ingenuity, and your passion for building a better tomorrow. My humble advice to you, seek out mentors. Embrace challenges, they're your best friends. As future engineers and as engineers, without problems, we are not relevant. Problems are our friends. Yes, you can clap to that. Learn from experts and collaborate with your peers. And most importantly, never, ever lose sight of the incredible potential that you have within. Yes? I myself have not worked abroad. Throughout my career, I have worked strictly in Jamaica. And I can tell you that it is possible to have a thriving career in engineering in Jamaica. Yes. I understand that many people through walks of life are offered different opportunities, but you don't have to be a part of the brain drain. We need your contribution here, all right? So remember, our country needs you. We need your minds, your hearts, and your unwavering dedication to build a vibrant future so that we can live in prosperity, harmony, happiness, unison, and success. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank Todd for jumping in and representing the ministry. I know that the minister was, that indicated that he would have been here, but we know the exigency of national responsibility. So again, let's just give Todd a round of applause. All right, any questions for him? Otherwise, we are going to jump straight in. Any question? Oh, Prof Morrison has a question. Let me see if I can grab a mic. 1 second. Yep. Here you go.
Thank you very much. It's not so much of a question, but to help in Dr. Lyndon's presentation to set the record straight, because we have been participating in Saudi's robotics competition from as early as 2012, I think, where UTech didn't have these box robots or these packaged robots. We had to build the robot. So of course the wheels were made of cotton reels, from the seamstress and other things, but the robots did perform well. I just wanted to set that record straight, to say that robotics has been with us for a long time, and we've been struggling, I think UTech was the base for that, and a lot of things happen here for that. And I want to probably implore the Ministry of Technology to assist in this effort, because over the last many years, we have not been so successful in getting the ministry and the government to participate. So these students are earning, well, they want to go, they want to get things done. We want to see a budget in the ministry to support these students. I think we leave it too much to the education sector to say, education, do it. It's not that. Many hands have to clap. So we need to have, like, the ministry, and I'm glad you spoke, because it gave me an opportunity to attack, to say, look, we need to see the ministry's budget, have a place in there for technological development and to assist the institutions like UTech, UWI, the high schools, across the board to meet that challenge. Because I know what the challenges were. I know the 2012 challenge trying to go to Atlanta to run a robot, and it didn't work so well. But I mean, we won competitions then. Thank you.
Ministry, that is Ministry of Education or Ministry of Technology and blah blah blah.
No, that's not.
All of them are. Thank you.
All right. I think I see Todd writing all your suggestions, Prof. So definitely we're listening out for what is to come from the ministry. You know, I want to also add, Prof. Morrison, that this robotic thing with Jamaica going to the Southeast Con, it was way before 2016. I remember when after the 9/11, and then we were carrying robots. I was the student chapter chair at the time. We were carrying the robots, the parts to the competition. I remember we were in Jacksonville one year, and our robots were actually seized because the fact that they had issues with security situation. We could not actually have gone past the security checkpoint with our robot. 1 year, this student had to stay almost, I think, overnight in order to recover the robot they had to send in for their special team in the US to actually scan and verify that the robot is. And these are some of the challenge, Region 3 Director, that we really have in terms of Jamaica, our institution participating in these competitions. It's getting a little bit better, but also it's something that we wanted to bring to your attention. And also with the help of the ministry, because we would have indicated to even government officials that we are going to these competitions, but we usually have some of these challenges. So in going forward, we're happy that these have come out, and we hope that we have some success in terms of way forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We have done it. You're welcome, man. Nah, man, that's not a Jamaican. We want to thank you, because without you, we, of course, would not have a successful workshop. And even to the end, I can see where the interest is still there. Directors, you have gotten a message from Jamaica. You have seen the responses, you've seen the integration, and you've seen where the professionals and the commitments that have been made by even a host and others. And I don't want to take the arguments from our chair. I just want to have Mr. Udega to, as soon as I can get his attention, Mr. Udega, right, to bring a closure to the workshop. Mr. Udega, it's all over to you.
Yeah, yes, time is really very, very constrained, but we are not pleased. We have really had a lot of patience to be here till now, but let us give little time, at least. The next 10 minutes we wrap up. I don't know if Dr. Carol is still here. Dr. Carol, you see, anybody from tourism, Enhancement Fund. Anybody here? Pros, please, at least we can bring 2 minutes greetings on their behalf because they're the one that give all this sponsorship, please. I sent her tell that she's going to give some greetings at least. But it's unfortunate. Please come and make little things so before we wrap up, please. So that she will feel recognized.
It is said that you must not pounce on somebody suddenly, especially you reach the retirement stage. You must be pouncing on these people. But anyway, Dr. Carol Brown, I thought she was here, but there's another meeting that she had to attend to. So let me just indicate that, well, I'm really sorry that she's not here to make the pronouncements that she wanted to do, but I know she came to mind to a part of this conference because of something she said to me some time ago. She's from the hotel industry, and she said that a hotel is really an engineering field that requires a lot of engineers. And we tend to forget that in the mix of things because we're just thinking about the sun and the beds and so on and so forth and the food, and not realizing the spectrum of engineering that requires into putting together a very well-respected international hotel. And I think she spoke about a survey that was done about the requirements for the hotels and what guests are looking forward to. And one of them was, guess what? Wi-Fi. And they want Wi-Fi everywhere, on the beach, everywhere they go. And this was a challenge for Jamaica. So I guess the whole business of integrating technology in hotel trade is of significance. Basically, what I'm saying is there's a lot of opportunities for engineers in the hotel industry. And we need to focus on that as institutions, not just talk about it, but meet with hoteliers, meet with the developers, look at what needs to be done, and have those jobs accessed by engineers. So basically, that's what I can say. I mean, I was called on suddenly, so I didn't have any kind of preparation for speaking to what Dr. Brown would really want to speak to. But of course, I'm indeed sorry that she didn't get a chance because she's very passionate about engineering and the lack of attention from engineering in the industry and the hotel industries, and bemoans the fact that most of the engineers in these large hotels are imported people. Most of them are coming from where the hotels are originated from, the Iberia Stars and so on and so forth. And we have our own local bred hotels here that to some extent utilize engineers here, but can benefit very much from expanding the knowledge that is, well, what is needed in this industry. I asked her, well, when she agreed to be a part of this, the first question she asked was, is it for sponsorship? I said, no, the idea is to come and share your thoughts about what engineering was. And of course, she graciously offered because she asked what our needs were, and I told her that one need, and she said, graciously offered to present tokens to persons. So, Chair, I think you might want to take it over to decide who the, well, I don't know the ones. Yeah, you'll start to indicate who, and I can help.
Okay, thank you, Pros. Thank you, Pros. It was outcome of discussion between Professor Hard Morris and Dr. Carol Brown of Tourism that led to this support for this event. And we could have given them support. I don't know if she has time constraints already left. Now, if you are from CMU, can you give a wave hand? CMU, okay, what we are doing today is a challenge. 3 universities here. UTech already won it because of interest of time. Sebastian, is it possible to see the YouTube briefly for UTech? Just right now, I want to show 1 second. We are not going to see detail. UTech that won robotics first in Jamaica. All is about Jamaican seed. If you know Kim Loy Berry, when he was here as a student, 2012. I'm among the team in Florida. You know that engineering started here in UTEC. Our sister here, our brother, Ieee, joined us. And now CMU have joined. We have planned to inaugurate CMU chapter so that we'll be going to the company. Can it run? If you will see how the robot we built here won in United States. If the Wi-Fi is not enough.
And this is a story of the third place Jamaican robot called Jamba. The Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering hosts its annual robotics competition as a part of its Southeast Conference. Jamaica is the only non-American country represented at the competition. Our robotics team flew to America and immediately started working. And working we did. And more work. And even more work. Over 50 other universities from the United States of America were represented at the competition. And small Jamaica stick to the mantra that we little but with Talawa. Our robot was finally ready for the road. The robot was a small device designed to fit in your roof or attic, and in the event of any electrical damages, the robot should be able to measure voltage, waveform, temperature, and other parameters and make a decision accordingly. The Jamaican robot executed its task efficiently and came out third, yes, third in the open competition. We proudly walked to the stage and collected our award. If China, Japan, and Germany can do it, Jamrock can.
So I see this opportunity of going straight to the point to show you we are now 3 universities. Our chances will increase. When only UTEC, we have less chance. Since UTEC will join us, we have more chances. Now, if you will also join the competition, we have 3 slots to compete there. When we go there, we are there as 3 different universities. Now, during the competition, if UTEC wins, they will call us on stage. No time UTEC have won, you will not join us. Each time, even you will won, I will join them on the stage to celebrate Jamaica. You see it? It's one Jamaica. Then we have more slots. So all along, we are planning with the CMU to join. The only difference is that each university will compete on their own because we are not ready to share the trophy. We are not ready to share. So you will go there, compete on your own. If you win, we celebrate with you. You carry your trophy to your university. On each case, I will go to the university and congratulate the head of school. Dr. John, is it? The tallest, what's the name again? The tall head of engineering, Muna. Paul. He was Paul Aiken. He was the head of engineering. Several occasions, I congratulated him when you won being engineering. Uni started engineering and then they start winning. You see? However, UTEC have won all the competition, including hackathon. We are not prepared to show you hackathon first place, technical papers first place. I represent the computer students in programming and he represents engineering each time we are going to the competition. My one is a challenge to you. Now, as counselor, if we work well, fine. And our director is here. We are going this year. Because of COVID, we have not, but March, we are having competition in Atlanta, and UTEC team are on top gear. Yesterday, on a little banquet, I pleaded with the Dean of Engineering and UTEC to give us support. And on each occasion, we are on our blaze. You can see how we dress up blaze with UTEC tie. So if you see when we are going, you will not know that we are students. And each student has 50 US every day as out of station allowance. You are giving 50 United States dollar each day. Your food is taken care of, your hotel is taken care of, your parents is not paying for anything. We're taking control of those ones. Now we go straight to the point. If you look at here, you can see attribute is service to humanity. They are persons who made these things happen. I want to honor them. I have my list here. This is what is given to us from Tourism Enhancement Fund. So, Sophia, anybody presenting Sophia here? Sophia? Okay, if it's not here, Manfred Sindler, please, can you take one? Present to him. Photo. It's our local thing. It's our local thing, so that we don't want to give you. Okay, let me. CMU. Take one and present to Eric, our director. Picture. Bala Prasana. Bala Prasana, please. Anybody from you take here? A man. I want a man to give a woman. Maria, you take? One. Yeah, so one. Maria Hunter. Where is David? David? Where is David? You left? Okay, can somebody get for me? Oh, Maria, can you stand for David? David. Young man, come and present to her for David. Come. Take care. Crystal Edward, can you call Crystal? Call Crystal outside. And Michelle, two of them. Crystal and the two young ladies there. You want to give Crystal? Okay. Okay, Crystal Edward. You want to use microphone? And talk? Yeah, Crystal.
Before. Crystal has been there from the beginning and to the end. She actually visited Jamaica long before the event, and she has been the engine behind the actual wheel in terms of the whole organization of this beautiful function, beautiful workshop we have. Crystal and Michelle. So special award from us to you. All right? And this is just a small token of our appreciation.
Just like Balvin said, Michelle was here November last year just to inspect this venue. She came here to inspect the venue to make sure we're in order. All what you have been doing here, Michelle, calls. At a point, she gets stressed. She was at a point, told me, why is it that we have only 25% registered? Why do we have only that? I told him, Jamaica 10. When we are very close, you will see many. Yesterday, you can see the population. Michelle, Michelle, Miss, yeah. Michelle, you can see Princess. I put that Princess Michelle Mills. Princess Mills. Michelle, right from Montego Bay, all this in our hotel accommodation is Michelle. Thank you. Terence Martinez. Oh, so unfortunate. Donovan Wilson. Donovan. It's outside. Please check. Nancy was leaving. Nancy Austin and Dr. Michelle Johnson and Ashley Moran. I gave them their own already. Huh? Oh, sorry. Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, come, the young lady, come. You gave Donovan already. You gave Donovan. Okay, we are now closing. Before I say the last, make the statement for closing, I wish to apologize. Okay, sponsors, please show the sponsors on the screen. Sponsors, please, very important. Among all, you see we're in region 3, but region 1 have been with us. Bala Persona. He's the mastermind that most giveaways was given to him. He lobbied with other bodies to make sure we get something. He brought things from the move and other things from US. Region 1 director, and we are under region 3. Our region 3 director is also, I'm not saying he's not supporting us, but he is, IEEE is one, but from the other region, he is giving region 3 support. So that's to tell you how cooperative IEEE is. Yeah. Actually, the thought for this workshop started from Panama, sometime in August. When I went there, it was difficult. The section said they cannot sponsor me. I went on my own. I got to the airport. I thought that there would be a shuttle. I sent email. I waited for some time. I took Uber and found myself in the hotel. At the end, everything went well. Maria Hunt here. I don't know if you can wave. If you don't know her, maybe face them and wave hand. Can face them. You see, I can say she is the backbone of this workshop. Called me, called Sophia. Sophia is represented by the other lady and the president-elect then, and we had meeting about this workshop. This workshop is just like a pilot. Time is not is behind us. It's a pilot for what will happen. Now, board retreat started last week, Friday, 12th of January. And we said retreat. All the governing board of IEEE were in Montego Bay. We don't want them to come and go without this workshop. Then after that workshop, a team of them, you can see all of them, came down to Kingston and we planned this. So I want to thank all of you. Eric, I thank you very much. Our TSC here, VP Fred, I thank you for the support. Bala is here with his wife. I thank you very much. Professor Harden, I don't know where, because Harden is the masterminder for all these gifts. I thank all of you. Balvin, when I was in Washington, I don't have any person. I wasn't here to receive Crystal. It was Balvin that received Crystal on our behalf. They came here, take photograph of this, and took it to the US before we were able to have this conference. So this workshop. So I thank each and every one of you. The only thing now I will have to apologize is that we thought that we closed 12. We don't have any lunch for you, but let us just bear with us, please. I want to say this last. Bear with us. I thank you. We'll be working as a team, reaching out to the high schools, bringing in STEM, bringing in robotics, up to the high school, even to primary schools, with the support of Donovan and many others. Please, let us take it from here. Thank you. Thank you all.